What's up, Faith family? Jarvis Guy of Word Darts YT here, and welcome back to a very special edition of After Dark. Now, today we're doing we're doing an interview stream. Okay, we're looking back at RB Retold one from 2020. It's a very cool community project devised by members of the RB and the Chief community. Um, but before I bring the producers on, because I had an interview with the producers, Derelict and Blizz. Um, there was some stuff that went down over the past couple of days. It's got nothing to do with me. It's got absolutely nothing to do with me. But I still feel the need to talk to at least mention it. So like obviously there was the thing with SML and they had that car crash, which is a shame. Definitely prayers up for them. That's rough. And tangentially related to that, there was some other stuff regarding an SML critic and some stuff that came out about them. Um, so I just want to tell everybody that I am aware that that has happened. Um, and until we get more details, uh, I don't have a take on it. I won't be making any videos about it because I'm not gonna lie, this is straight up a really like fucked up mess. I don't know how else to put it. It really is. Anyway. Uh, think with that said, that's the major thing. Oh yeah, and PNG Tuber season 4, but that's for like a separate stream. So yeah, man. Guess without further ado, we can move into the main segment of this stream, which is gonna be clipped to high hell anyway. And we will do the interview. Let me get the guys. All right, there we go. Oop. Hello.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, I hear you, Blizz. I don't know if we can get you on. I don't know if they can hear you on the stream, but
Okay, well, hold on. I can check the playback myself. Hold on.
I think they can. I think they can because this the bar is popping up in OBS, and I don't have like a loopback, so
Okay,
You
well,
do Commander Chef for the thumbnail. That's cute.
let's
yeah,
go.
that's cute. Thanks. I didn't know anyone watched oneself.
All right. Actually, I didn't know which picture to get for you, Blizz. I had like Saul Goodman at first, and I was like, oh no, no. And then I realized,
That's a deep cut, damn.
then I realized that fuck, you played Commander Chief in oneself, and
I did.
I remember that because I didn't realize it was you for the longest time because I worked with you on Retold, and I was like, wait a second, that was fucking Blizz. That's what he sounds like. But I
Yeah,
mean,
I was I
you're
was a
acting.
producer on oneself for the whole show, pretty much.
Yeah.
Kind of the same errand boy shit I did for Retolds 1 and 2, but yeah.
Oh my, my condolences. But
Mhm.
I guess
It's all good.
I got some interview questions down right here. First, I want
Go
to
for
thank
it.
you all. Want to thank you all for agreeing to do this in spite of my ongoing litigation. Appreciate your understanding. And
No worries.
wish I was joking. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Who are you guys? Who are you guys?
Derelict, you go first. It's your project.
Oh fuck! I was trying to come up with like a nerdware answer. It's like who are you? Um, I'm Derelict Country. I'm I guess a trash content creator. I kind of started the RB Retold project series, and obviously with the help of this lovely guest that I have next to me.
Yes, yeah, we're right next to each other holding hands, believe it or not.
That's not my hand.
Yeah. Oh shit. I was gonna say your hand's pretty small, but
Okay.
um, but yeah, we've my name is Blizz.
You guys
Or
are
do you want to say more about yourself, Derelict? You're the one who actually works in this regularly, so I don't want to steamroll you. You have
No, no, no.
any?
You're fine. Let's go over to you for a bit because I've talked plenty.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm Blizz. What do I say? I'm a teacher normally, but as a hobby, I do some producing and video work. I do voice acting. I've worked on a
There
few
you go.
machinima related projects. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of machinima in general anymore, but Derelict and I used to run a server together that was all about RB and the Chief, and I used to. I guess I was one of the admins at some point too. Derelict has a better memory than me about all this, but the fact of the matter is, Derelict and I have worked together for a few years. We still work together now, and yeah. I guess we're still doing this shit and talking about it a few years later. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, man. Nah, it was like I really got the idea to do this because I mean, one, there's not a lot of stuff out there about RB Retold One. It
Mhm.
was it was a big friggin' project. You had like a ton of people, dozens of people, or maybe a dozen.
Oh yes, dozens of people also watched it, so it was well worth it in the
Yeah,
end. So
there you go. But I mean, it was like the definition of a passion project. And then also, I saw that like one of the guys who contributed to, I guess it was all the retolds or about as many as I did. Dude's name Aegis Mind. I don't know how to say it.
yeah, that name rings a bell.
Yeah, there you
Yeah, yeah,
go.
yeah.
He oh fuck, what did they do? They did like a recreation of the Corridor Crew offices. Um,
Ferociously talented guy.
Yeah, no, and I thought, well, he made a documentary about it, and I was like, well, wait a second, man. You could make like a pretty solid documentary about just like a Halo map. Then why can't we do some sort of sort of in depth about Retold One? Because I mean, again, there's like nothing
Yeah.
out there about it. And oh yeah, I guess I should add some context. Yeah, uh, I'm Jarvis God, and I think you guys already know that. But it's just because I'm gonna clip this part out of the stream, put in another video. But I worked on the first retold, the second one, the third one, not the fourth one, because there was some sort of issue. I'm not gonna explain. It's really complicated. And then I did
It's
a
all
hard
good.
just retold, yeah. But
Nice, nice.
but
I only worked on the first two. So
yes, yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, we're only gonna have you for 2 episodes, Blizz. I'm sorry. No, I'm just
oh, that's
Yeah.
fine. I'm happy to contribute. I am mostly proud of these, so I'm down to talk about it.
it was a big undertaking, man. I mean, with a lot of internet projects, because when I was a really like retarded kid.
Hmm.
Oh, what was it? It was this movie they were making, or that they were saying they were making, and I didn't realize at the time, but these guys, they were obsessed with making like fake movies, and so I told them this sounds like a fucking disaster because it was like an animated like project. It's really hard to explain, but it was about like little
Hmm.
cartoon ants on like Sony Wonder VHS tapes, and I told him this is a terrible friggin' idea, and
Well, you got to get Flick from oneself working on that. He loves ants. But yeah.
I don't think Flick would want to be associated with these guys because one of them turned out to be a pedophile. Um,
Flick is not known for his best choice of friends, so I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised, honestly. So,
I ain't gonna speak on
I'm
that.
gonna do, I'm gonna be doing the They Not Like Flick diss track sometime this year, I guess.
oh my god.
They they not like Flick. Nah,
Am I doing stuff? Seriously?
nah, dog.
Seriously.
No, no, he's got to be like when that guy James Corden, that stupid
Mhm.
Yeah.
late night talk show. Yeah, he did that.
Yeah.
He did that. He did that parody. We don't talk about Jada instead of we don't talk about Bruno. You should do like we
Oh.
don't talk about Flick or whatever.
I would say Flick is worth talking about. There's a few people on this project that we can't really go back in time and say, hey, don't get the guy who's actually actively passing the pass a bar exam in order to remove civil rights from black people. Like, if I could go back in time and tell myself what I knew now, probably I would not have that person involved, but here we are. So,
Did
uh,
wait. Did you just say that this guy was trying to pass the bar exam to remove civil
yeah,
rights from black?
Derelict, if you have a bunch of question marks in your head, I'll tell you later. But yeah, we had a guy who was claiming that, and it's just like, sheesh.
Well,
Oh, man.
as a black guy, I can't say that I'm too enthused about that. But
Yeah, I would imagine. It's just like, what a fucking douche. Like, why? Why?
not to
Man, you
not
really
too
should have put
enthused.
Saul Goodman in that thumbnail.
Whoa!
Yeah, you should have.
Okay, okay,
It's all
okay.
good. I'm happy with the chef reference. I'm happy someone remembers oneself. So
Yeah, I mean sometimes I try sometimes I try to rewatch oneself and then I just get kind of I
I
get kind of
can't.
confused. No,
I can't. I
seriously.
can't. I've been like toying with the idea of like doing my own edit of it at some point where it might be comprehensible, but maybe it's best to leave it as it is.
That's like
I have no idea. Anyway, this is about RB Retold.
yeah,
I know.
I'm
So
One
about,
sorry.
stream a
We totally
different
derailed
time.
this shit.
yeah, I was just about to say like trying to re-edit oneself. That might be trying to get like blood from a stone. Like you're not gonna end up with anything except a shorter episode.
I can't
Pause.
watch it because like I have a hard time like listening back to my voice. Although people have told me they do like the chef character, and I'm happy to hear that. So
No comment.
mm.
But I mean, personally, I like the chef character. Just that voice.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah. It's
it's interesting. It's very interesting. He's one of those characters that they write articles about during Pride Month and talk about how problematic they are.
yeah.
Which is fair,
Yeah,
I
but
would probably play that character a bit differently today, but what's
I hope.
done is done.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
anyway.
technically it isn't finished, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah, you were
Oh,
saying?
yeah. That's story for another time because I got a ton of questions about that. But
Yeah,
anyway,
please,
anyway,
please.
anyway. To the retold
Mhm.
interview questions. Okay. So question 2 was how are you two doing?
Derelict.
Oh yeah, Blizz can definitely take this one first.
Oh fuck. All right. I'm doing pretty good. Like, are we speaking like generally or since the project? In
I mean just like generally.
in general, well,
Yeah.
honestly, it's been great lately. Like
Well,
past
there
few
you go.
years have been really good for me.
That's all.
Very happy now. I was a lot more downtrodden a few years back working on Retold,
Could imagine.
and I'm doing a lot better now. I'm very happy. Very happy. I have my dog with me. I'm talking to some lovely people on Discord, and I don't know. I'm pretty happy. Derelict.
I'm hanging in there. I'm kind of just taking a little bit of a breather. From working on so much stuff. Like since I think we're in June now, so it's like 6 years since I put out Abnormality 3 on my channel, which is like the video that kind of got the ball rolling on everything that I've made since. And since then, I've been working on like at least 2 or 3 videos at all times. And this year, it's just been me kind of wrapping up a ton of stuff. So the last episode of Chewies is coming out next month, which is a series I've been making since like 2019. I ended Missionophobic, the podcast, at the start of this year, which is a series
Rip.
that me inflicted for like a year.
Underrated podcast. Saying it again. I've told him in DMs. If you haven't heard that podcast, it's actually pretty good.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I
It's
like the
supposed
one
to
we
be
got the
fucking-
Sims machinimator.
Oh yeah. I wrapped up. I did the last RB Bowl a few months ago.
The end of an era. Wow.
Yeah, and the last Retold as well. So that's like I've ended like 4 things that I've been working on for a while, and the last thing I was going to be the prom night disaster story that John had, which we're putting into Machinima, and that's going to come out in Christmas. And I don't know if Jarvis has seen the test footage. I don't want to spoil it, but the test footage looks so fucking cursed. It's going to be incredible.
Great.
Wait, for what?
Makes
For what?
For the prom night disaster.
I have not seen it.
Oh God,
I've not seen it.
send over some of that to me. I'm kind of
yeah,
curious too.
because I don't want to show up publicly because when people see what we're using for it, people are gonna fucking shit their pants with laughter. It's so fucking funny.
Okay, cool.
Oh my god.
But after that, then like I'm just making a guide to Machinima, and like that's almost like the first phase of like my channel done. I kind of want to make a pivot to different kind of content next year, and it's also juggling now with IRL stuff, which I'm sure is no exception for you two, where real life will make changes for you a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Damn. Anyway.
I don't know if that was a downer. I didn't mean that in a bad way. It's just like, you bob and weave to changes. That's all.
You're good. You're good. You're good, dude. I get it.
Uh,
But I'm happy to hear that you're gonna be diversifying your content a bit.
yeah,
I
yeah.
keep wanting like every machinima maker I meet, and I'm not trying to diss machinima. Like I get it. People have their limitations to make a film, and making a film sucks ass. And doing it in machinima is a pretty easy way to do it. But my in my ideal world, all you machinima guys are gonna be making some live action or something else. I wish John would do that too, a bit more of anything other than machinima, honestly.
Um,
But
I guess before we go into the the grease and the juice or whatever,
mhm.
I'll give like a little bit of a thing about what I'm doing now. Between now and Christmas is the prom night disaster. I'm taking a bit of a breather. I have some traveling coming up. I've just done some traveling. I'm going to I'm doing some side projects. One I just did with Blizz last
Mhm.
week, which was like a Fortnite video. And Fortnite has a theater mode. Not many people know this. I don't think John even knew this when he did Master Chief Sucks at Fortnite. But um,
Damn.
it's like the theater mode in Fortnite, it can be robust if you have a good connection. And I decided, well, what if we did something more cinematic with it? So I'm trying to schedule it carefully, but next month I have a kind of like
Ooh.
a Fortnite playback video of just like 1 or 2 matches we did, and it's just cut to some Bring Me music. So that's something
Ooh.
that Jarvis can relate to. Yeah,
Okay. Wait a
it's
second.
Parasite Eve, basically.
Ooh. Okay. She.
Damn.
Um, it is right. After that, I have
Showing
like
that's
I,
response.
I when I'm doing Machinima now, I'm trying to not use Halo so much because I'm kind of burnt out on Halo Machinima a little bit. I'm going to do one other Machinima in a game that isn't Halo or Fortnite. It's not a shooter at all. And then
Damn.
I have one more project I want to do where I want to experiment with making 360 videos. So for the 0.3% of my audience that has like a VR headset, hopefully that'll be done at some point and you can play around with that.
Damn.
Is that actually true? Like 0.3% of your audience has a VR headset?
Yeah, it's just fucking Blizz. That's it.
Oh.
But
Oh
And
fuck.
maybe Celtic Horn as well. But I can't imagine many of the people who are subscribed to me either have a headset or are real people.
Yeah. Or a real fan.
yeah,
Probably like
that's
dead accounts.
debatable.
Because a lot of YouTube channels just have like dead accounts and your videos aren't recommended to them.
Well, for some reason, all of my audience have their pussy in the bio. I don't understand.
Yeah. Dude, okay, genuinely, okay. Just this like a tangent, but that shit like pisses me off more than it should because I
Mhm.
watch like Super Mario Logan, right? You guys know them, right?
Yeah.
Those stupid puppet videos. Those videos are made for kids, but every single comment is like DM me for OnlyFans and stuff, and it's just like straight pornographic shit. And it's like the thumbnails are like women in bikinis. I'm like, you are showing this to kids, dog. Like, what the fuck?
yeah.
And Logan says, I've given up on cleaning it up. Well, homeboy,
Ah.
please just like put a filter or something, because you're leading kids to like scam like now 69 sites.
Yeah. It's pretty dumb. Dumb
It
shit.
pisses me off, and like half the people, well, most of the people that follow me on Twitter are all fucking bots. I'm not talking about the PNG tuber Twitter. I'm talking about my own shitty Twitter. But yeah. Oh
Fair
my god,
enough.
man. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to question 3. Gonna have to cut
Yeah,
out these
sure.
first 2 questions. What is your connection to RB and the Chief, and how did y'all find the show?
Who's going first, Derelict?
Yeah. I started watching RB Chief kind of late. Like I wasn't. People say in John's comments, "Oh, John, been here since episode 1 in 2007 on the 8th of November." I was I watched it after episode
Okay.
2 came out. Like I never saw when Master Chief Sucks at Halo 3 came out. So I saw it after episode 2 came out. And I remember I was on MSN Messenger, like chatting up a girl who I had a crush on, and just watching it and shit. Because there's this internet cafe in my hometown that was basically a house. It was kind of fucked, and
Damn,
Okay.
dude.
it was like a crack then. But there was something very comfy about it. I don't know how to describe it.
Okay.
You should visit Detroit sometime.
It,
So comfy.
it would not have been out of place there, Jesus Christ. But yeah, um, But again, like that was I don't think I'd ever watched. I'd heard about Red versus Blue after RB the Chief, I think, maybe. So the machinima stuff was new to me, and every fucking autistic kid in their fucking mid-teens made videos with their action figures anyway. So, and we all played with Microsoft Mike and Microsoft Sam saying rude words anyway. So it was just punching every button for me, you know.
Well, everyone had like Windows XP up until like 2010, I think.
Yeah, no, for real, dog. I guess you're right. The show kind of tapped into something, didn't it?
Like,
yeah, it was all the relevant things at the time. Like if you did like a YouTube series now about like a VR character doing like Mr. Beast challenges and stuff, like if you just punch on all the, not even the topical like topics, but all like the utilities that people have access to, even like primitive AI tools and stuff, you'd probably get the ball rolling, right? Because that's why it's aged so well, because it's like a time capsule of that period. Even John identifies that with like how it perfectly bottled what was happening on Xbox Live at the time, you know?
It really did. I was growing up on Xbox Live at that time as well, so it is like a really cool little time capsule.
Oh man. Well, Blizz, what about you? How'd you find the show?
Judging from what Derelict's saying, I think I might have a longer history with the show than he has. Or maybe, I'm not sure. I remember Halo 3 was a big thing when I was in middle school. Just for reference, I'm like 29 right now, and pretty sure I first saw RB and the Chief when I was like 13 in like 2007. And I think I didn't see RB and the Chief first because John made like 3 episodes of Master Chief Sucks at Halo, and I think that was like the precursor. Derelict can probably correct me on that, but I think that's the case. Like they pre-existed, RB and the Chief. So I saw those, and I was immediately hooked. Yeah, like I wanted an Xbox and I wanted to play Halo, and I liked this culture. And then eventually I did get Halo and an Xbox, and I did play the game actively for quite a while. Up through Halo Reach. I kind of gave up on the series after Reach. I like Reach, just to be clear. I just don't care for much after that, which I think is the same for a lot of people, probably.
No comment.
Look, I'm not shitting on 4 or 5, but you're never gonna get me to play them. Sorry.
That is 100%
fair. But I would say the bigger impact RB and the Chief had on me was a few years ago when I saw a video, and Derelict, you're going to have to help me remember this because it wasn't Abnormality 3, which I know brought a lot of people to the server, but it was, I think Jazz wrote the video. I'm trying to remember the name of the video.
Fucking Playing with Job, was it?
Playing with John. Yeah, Playing with Job. Yeah. I saw that video, and I saw that there was like an RB and the Chief Discord server, and I was like, shit, let me join that. And that server at that time was like, I don't know, it was a special and terrible, horrible thing all at once. And it was like a microcosm of like, I don't know, like go to the 4chan board B, and it's like everyone just came straight from there, pretty much. That's what it felt like. Derelict and I became acquainted eventually. I think Derelict and I became fairly acquainted because he realized, oh, this Blizz guy might not be a fucking psychopath piece of shit like fucking everyone else in this server. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we got closer. I eventually became a mod on that server, and I was admin for a short time later on. And pretty much from there, our collaboration started, and it's continued. And that's like the short version. But thanks to that server and that situation, we got the retolds made, the ones I worked on. We also got One Self, which honestly, I'm happy that One Self was made. And I'm happy that we actually got it done somewhat.
Yeah.
And and I don't know, but the best thing about that, the best thing for me about that is that I actually had the chance to like talk to John a few times because of the retolds and because of One Self. We actually almost had John on One Self, believe it or not. I had him like ready to like do a cameo and everything, and then That exploded because the server's full of idiots. But yeah,
Oh, I hope you're not talking about what I think you're. You know what? Maybe not. Whatever.
there's a lot of shit to talk about if we're talking about like controversies from
I
that server.
look.
So just pick one.
I don't know, cause look, Derelict told me one thing that I'm not gonna repeat while the mic is hot. When the stream is over, I'll say what it is, but I
All
don't put it
good.
like this. It's like you know that Derelict. I don't know if you probably heard about it, but it's like this one show on MTV called Catfish, right?
Oh
Oh yeah.
boy. Oh god.
I don't
Yeah,
know if
I
that
think
was
I
the
know
situation.
exactly what you're talking about.
I
Okay.
don't think that was it.
That had something to do with it,
Okay.
actually. I think. Honestly, a lot of those controversies, they're like pretty far behind me now, and I think it seems like everyone else I talk to remembers them better than me, even though I was in the middle of a lot of that shit at the time.
Damn.
But yeah, joined the server. Enjoyed my time there for what it was, and Derelict and I still collaborate. I don't really watch the show or follow John anymore, if I'm being honest. I don't dislike him or hate him or anything like that. I think Derelict has a more active grudge with John
Come on, give me a fucking break. It's not a
Phrasing,
grudge.
dog. Phrasing, man. We don't wanna get in trouble with John, cause
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But like, I don't follow his stuff anymore because honestly, it's kind of related to what I said earlier. He's still making the same shit he's been making since 2007. He's a really talented writer, very thoughtful filmmaker. I enjoy the same shit that inspires him. He talks about Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and it's a big meme that I like Better Call Saul. I wish John would actually do something else. Animation, live action, fucking anything. Because like I just can't watch machinima anymore unless it's like something really special. But
yeah.
yeah.
Um, man. Well, you know what? I'll say it's interesting to learn that you two are both like OGs of the show, cause I came around in like I found out about the show in 2018, I think, when Machinima went under.
We're just old.
Ah,
That's the only reason why.
Yeah.
that's
About it.
interesting in the timeline.
Yeah, no, for real. And then someone on Reddit posted, excuse me, yeah, they posted a thread about John bitching and moaning at Machinima, and I was like, wait, RB and the Chiefs? Oh, this is like Red versus Blue, because I was big into Red versus Blue. I
Mm.
love Rooster Teeth. I love Red versus Blue. So I started watching RB, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. So I kept watching season
Rest in
8.
peace, Rooster Teeth. Damn.
No, for real, man. Oh, they were so good, like Camp and shit. But yeah, dog. And then yeah, I started. I think. Oh fuck, what was it? Yeah, I watched the show from the beginning so I could catch up with season 8, and that was not worth it because season 8. Yeah, we all know how season 8 was. But yeah, man. Well, I mean, you two had the experience. You knew what the early days of the show were like. So as producers, I guess like y'all would have a faithful perspective as OGs, you know?
Yeah. RB and the Chief was very special to me in my childhood, I would say, in a very weird way. And I would say the friends I made through being in the RB community,
Yeah.
despite the ups and downs we've all had, uh, I'm happy about the experience I've had overall. And John is still someone like someone who like inspired me to like get into like film and producing, and I'll always have some positive feelings for him because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, see, I know exactly what you mean, man, cuz it's like
Mhm.
you guys had RB and the Chief. Okay? That was cuz you guys are OGs. My thing was
Yeah.
like oh fuck, you guys probably know. You know like the Minecraft music videos?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
that was my sort of thing. The Minecraft music videos and like the some like the cartoon reviewers whose names I'm not gonna say because they're embroiled in some really hot shit right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, those few. Well, they got someone else in trouble. That's mainly what it is. But the point is that like I think in the internet age, I guess in this in a for post millennials and millennials and shit,
Mhm.
um, you know, when you're young, you get attached to stuff and guess like the algorithms of YouTube or whatever the fuck,
Mhm.
it sort of what's it called? It sort of cements whatever your interest is. So if you're like if
In a
you're
sense,
into
yeah.
yeah, if you're into RB and the Chief and like Machinima, then that's what you're gonna mainly watch, and that's what you're gonna get really attached to. So it's like a stronger attachment for like RB for you guys, and for like those stupid ass Minecraft animations and cartoon reviews for me. It's stronger than that of like a boomer who watched fucking the Flintstones on ABC.
This is why I don't judge people for like what they're interested in generally. Of course, there are certain things that maybe people should be judged for being interested in, obviously. But like, like when I hear a lot of people like shit on like kids being interested in like using like TikTok or like playing Fortnite, or even like just Gen Zers in general doing that stuff. And it kind of annoys the shit out of me, because it's like it's okay if you don't like that stuff yourself, but like generalizing an entire generation saying that stuff is cringe or it's lame, but it's just like, dude, you're doing the same shit boomers were doing to us when we
Seriously,
were
man.
younger. And it's like a very big lack of self-awareness, which blows my mind. Because I would like to think that if you've been one to experience something, you would feel like, oh, I'll try not to do that to someone else or something like that,
Nah, for
So
real. For real, you're right, man. And it's like I try not to do it, but I'm like an old soul. So I will.
no, I get it. I'm not like judging you. I'm just saying my perspective on it. But
No,
yeah,
man, you're
I get
right.
you.
But it's every generation doesn't. It's like you got to be cognizant of it and break the cycle, because
Don't get me wrong, I roll my eyes sometimes, but I always try to give everything a chance.
Well, like Skibbity Toilet.
Honestly, I was watching that the other day, and
Yeah, I know, me too.
I feel like I
So
need to
funny.
like take notes while watching it. I'm like, oh my god, this is like there's like this one bit from The Simpsons where it's like, one day I knew what was in, and now I don't, and that day is coming for you. And I'm just like, oh shit, I'm watching Skibbity Toilet, and I'm like, it's all right. It's just like random shit. Like, I'm like,
Is it
I guess I can see why kids like this, because it's like short form, loud, and like
Yeah.
toilet related.
It made more sense as it went along.
Yeah,
and the
but
worst thing is that Skibbity Toilet is now flying the flag for the medium known as Machinima, right? Because it's all done in
Yeah.
like the Half-Life
but
engine
like,
or whatever.
hey, Machinima is still prevalent in 2024, but you got
What was the
Skibbity
cost?
Toilets. It's
Yeah.
like a monkey's paw thing. Like Derek was like, oh god, I hope Machinima is still relevant this year. And then it's like,
It's
all right.
literally gone down the toilet.
But yeah,
Crazy
I try
stuff.
not to judge people for that shit, because like, I don't know. Think about Arby and the Chief from the perspective of like when I
Yeah.
was a kid, and I'm
Yeah.
like showing that to people, and it's just like, oh, it's just like edgelord, low quality internet shit.
It looks really
And it's
stupid. I mean,
yeah,
that much is
yeah.
undeniable.
But like, no, the adults don't get it, like it's all for me. The funny thing being, like, I think John was like 20 when he made that show or something like that.
Nah. Nah, seriously, man. Like, I think that's a part of maturity too, realizing that the stuff that your generation is into, realizing that the older generations just think it's like vile, like incomprehensible shit. Like a lot of the music I listen to, it's like I thought about it the other day. It was like, oh, yo, if I if I played this for my grandparents, they would probably just hear like static noise and like satanic grunting.
I love Death Grips, but I think that's exactly what people think it sounds like if I play
I
it
think
for them.
that's supposed to sound like.
Nah, seriously, dog.
But I check myself on like what the kids are doing these days, because I had the boomer response to TikTok when it first started getting popular, because it was all, I have a massive gripe with short form content where people are trying to compress a bunch of information to a small amount because you lose stuff. And when I was looking at that,
Yeah.
remember they had that Grimace shake meme where someone would drink Grimace shake?
Okay,
Yeah, I
okay. Can you
remember that.
explain that to me? Because I never got that.
I think it was just like there was like a thing like, oh, it's Grimace's birthday, and they released a new shake for it. And then the idea is that
Okay.
I think Grimace was supposed to be in the shake or something, and by drinking it, you would invoke his presence, and you would just jump
Yeah.
cut. And I love that meme. It was like, because you understood like what the structure was. It's like, oh
Yeah.
hey, did I drink the Grimace shake? Hope it's really good.
I remember that, and I don't know. Short form content is just a different sort of content. I get if people don't like it, but I love listening to like multi-hour video essays. But I also just like scrolling through TikTok when I'm trying to go to sleep. So I can have it both ways, honestly.
That's
No,
because
not
like you
really.
would never have a video essay on the Grimace Shake going chapter 1, the Lumiere brothers and capitalism, because that would just never work.
I,
That's
I
true.
was just gonna say, give it time because a lot of the stuff
It's
on
gonna
TikTok
happen.
now, it's like there will be like hour-long video. You know, like Mauler, you know that guy,
Yeah, yeah.
and he
EFAP.
makes like 6 hour-long videos about like Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Like in my mind, what's stopping someone from copying Mauler's style after seeing like how much money he makes off those crappy videos, and then just doing like a in-depth analysis of Skibbity Toilet and its criticism of the bourgeoisie capitalist system? Like what the fuck? It's a matter of time. Just give it a couple years when Gen Alpha learns how to use a computer.
I can't wait till it's like 20 years from now and we have nostalgia, like people who are like very nostalgic for like all the weird shit that's coming out right now. Like, oh
Oh
man,
God.
remember when those creepy AI videos of Will Smith eating spaghetti first came out? Damn, those were the days.
That sounds
Or the
depressing.
grimace meme or some shit.
The
I get
that sounds depressing.
triggered when people do like nostalgia videos of consoles because you'll like sometimes you won't be in a Facebook group, but if you're scrolling through your Facebook feed, you'll see posts from groups that are adjacent to ones you're in. And the other way there's like this theme of stuff on Instagram where it's like nostalgia core, where it's like POV, you just got back from school into 2000s, and it's the fucking carpet floor with the roads and the streets on it. And it's like the Chucky Finster fucking bedroom walls, and it's someone putting a VHS into their fucking GameCube, and fucking GTA 5 comes on or something. And there's so many. They try to pull nostalgia from all these different places, and they're trying to get nostalgia for playing a PS4. And I'm like, it's barely been a fucking decade. It's not that long ago. I hate it when people nostalgia bait for stuff that's not that long ago. Also, I maybe some like people are doing nostalgia for the Nintendo 3DS, and it's like, okay, that was over 10 years ago, maybe. But I don't like being reminded that I'm old and out of touch. I bought a Switch at Christmas, and now I'm being told Switch 2 is coming.
Yeah.
Damn, that's rough.
Okay. Well, here's my thing about that. There, like, firstly, I'm nostalgic for like the Xbox One, so
Okay, fair.
I mean,
All right.
just cause when I got my Xbox One, I was a stupid little kid, all right, and I was like, this is so cool, and I used to play the shit out of that. So it's really just like a relative thing. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
I get that it's only 11,
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't know. I guess I'll feel the same way when what the fuck is it? Gen Alpha is nostalgic for I don't know what the fuck is it? The original For
They're
You page of TikTok before they change it to AI
they're
generated
gonna be
videos.
nostalgia for COVID. That's what they're gonna be nostalgic for.
Mm, dude, I already see some of that. That I can't get behind. I'm like,
POV,
dude,
you just got your second shot.
oh, oh my god, dog, dude, dude, that shit pisses me. That pisses me off on a couple levels. I really don't want to go into it, but it's like those kids. Either they were still shitting their diapers when COVID was still around, or they just don't fully understand what COVID was. I think that's probably it. Cause I'm not nostalgic for that shit at all.
Uh, I'm nostalgic for it in the sense that like my life got a lot better once it happened. Honestly, like switching to remote work and
Oh yeah.
doing that has been like I know it's not the same for everyone, so I totally get people suffering from that.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like, damn, I can work at home like full time now. Fuck yeah!
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. I see what you mean, but that's like an adult assessment of COVID. That I can understand. What I
yeah.
don't understand is like I had a buddy, okay,
Mm.
and he was talking about COVID, and he was talking about when COVID hit. He was like, I'm not gonna do his voice, but you remember when we had to go to online school? And I'm like, is that the only thing you remember from COVID? Online school? You don't remember like anything else? He was like, no. And I'm like, and then I asked
Damn.
him like, can you name like the important event of 2020? And it was like pulling teeth to get him to say COVID. And then I asked him what was the important like societal event of 2021? What was the thing that a lot of people got? And I really tried, but I could not get him to say the vaccine. And I was like, well, did you get the vaccine? It was like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, dog. it's
I
like
think people are trying to like sweep it under the rug nowadays. Like they don't want to remember COVID, but it still exists.
no, I mean,
It's still floating around.
no, I mean, I understand, but as an adult, you should be able to say more about COVID than we did online school. It's like, do you not remember like the crazy news reports? Like, did I guess like if you didn't have family members that got sick with it or whatever, it's different. But I mean, like that was a dark time. But I guess if you just were on YouTube all day, shit, man, I guess it don't matter. What the fuck? That I mean, that just bothered me. That just bothered me.
Yeah, I get that.
One
But
thing that I do like just going back to Retold quickly, it's when
yeah,
in terms of like
that's what we're
invoking
supposed to be talking about.
like stuff that like nostalgia and stuff. Like I'm just combing through the first Retold now on my screen, and I was looking at your scene, and you did the Jarvis, and you did the 3D one,
Yeah,
and
Mhm.
it
it's
looks like shit.
I do a lot of no, but like it was cell shaded and stuff. It was really stylized. And I think people really vibed with that one. And then obviously Blizz did the one. It was like the 2D one. Actually, Blizz, you almost did too, right? Because there's also the one with the Barbie dolls, right?
The Barbie one was technically my partner at the time.
Yeah,
Who she did the voice. She did one of the voices for that. She filmed it, and Derelict had the final cut on Retold one, but I'm gonna give myself a tiny bit of credit here and say I probably edited like at least I don't know a fifth of that video because
Yeah.
of Kirkland's signature submission.
Yeah.
We'll talk a bit more about that when we're watching it, I guess.
Yeah,
But
I was about to say because
God.
you were telling me about that the other day, and I was like,
Yeah, there's
what the
some
fuck?
yeah. I want to go into it because it's just so fucking ridiculous. This motherfucker sent me a zip file of like just raw video clips. Like he was just recreating like shot for shot the scene we gave him. No audio, like he didn't do any voiceover.
Wait, what?
And I'm like, yeah, yeah. He just
The
it's
same
like he made his scene, but it was like you have to put it together yourself. And you know, I told Derelict about that, and he's just like, "Oh, fuck that guy. We can't fucking. We're not gonna fucking put it together for him." And I'm like, "Okay, well." And I'm just like, "Well, I
Won't go
don't,
in for that.
I don't want you to do another scene there because I think that was like the second option if I didn't edit it." So I was like, "Okay, I'll edit it together." And I think Flick contributed like the game footage for that, and then I'm like, Kirk, you gotta fucking do voiceover, and it was Kirk, and I forget who was the other person in that scene. We'll have to
Flick, I
rewatch.
think.
Was it Flick? Okay, it was
Yeah, it
Flick.
was like a
Okay, yeah. And it was like agonizing because I had to like edit that, and it wasn't even that great. It's like fucking 4 minutes of the whole video, and it's like, all right, well, at least we diversified. And I think Kirk did a better job on the second retold because other people were actually doing work for him. I think. No, it wasn't. No. It was. I edited his thing for the second one too. No, it
cars,
was
yeah.
the same shit. God damn it. It's the
So-
same fucking shit.
So look. I don't want to victim blame here, but it seems like you let him do the exact same thing twice.
Kirk
Like-
was
And
a
I-
prominent member in
Did you
our
tell?
community, for better or for worse.
No, I mean it
and,
doesn't matter. You shouldn't have let him get away with it again.
That's true. That's true. But at least I knew it was going to happen this time, and I said, "Look, Kirk, I'm willing to edit it, but try to give me everything this time instead of just raw clips of your fucking Bionicles sitting on a couch." All right, like, and he did. To his credit, he did. He got it to me, and I had no problem editing it. But editing that segment for the first video was a little like. It was fucking annoying, but the second one it was fine. It wasn't a big deal.
So,
I actually really liked the first one.
but so wait a second.
Fair enough.
Wait a second. Kirkland could film it, but he couldn't edit it, right?
He probably could, but I don't think he knew how. Is the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. I don't know what the miscommunication was. I don't think we were vague about the submission, or maybe we just assumed like we have. And when we were running that server, we had to deal with a lot of people who had various neurodivergence, let's say, in a
Oh my
very general
god.
way. So some of them weren't the best with socializing, or maybe they took things very literally. Lots of things like that. I'm a teacher, so I've dealt with that with my students, so it wasn't like a big deal for me.
Yeah.
But like there were still times where like we'd have like clear miscommunications or something, or someone just taking things very literal. And I think we had a small problem with people just like almost like recreating it almost exactly at
Yeah.
certain points. And it was like it's very good recreation, don't get me wrong, but that's not the point of the project. Like the point of the project, yes, we are recreating these scenes, but we want to like put a little spin on it. Maybe it's a different medium, maybe it's like different characters, like the Barbie scene, for example. That's basically just a remake, but it's like different. It's like, oh, it's gender bent, haha, it's Barbies. You know. But we had some people that were like doing that, and I think on the second retold, I tried to check in with progress updates with people a bit more, so I can be like, okay, what you're doing is good, but do something like a little crazy for it, like don't be afraid to like go off script or go off whatever John had in the original video. We're not trying to replace his videos, we're just making a tribute to them, so
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
and you know what? Actually, kind of leads me into my next question. Where
Mhm.
did the idea for Retold come from?
Talk to Derelict because I came on a little later.
I think Derelict kind of told me, but I don't remember.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel called 3GI. Great channel. They do like
Mhm.
IRL Super Smash Brothers, where they all cosplay as like Nintendo characters, and they just beat the living shit out of each other. Great videos. But there's a Shrek Fest that happens in Wisconsin or one of the fucking smaller states, like up above, like the up north, I think, and or Michigan or something. They do they started that Shrek Fest kind of thing, and they kind of capitalized on like the meme status of Shrek, and they did a video called Shrek Retold. Maybe
Mm,
a
Okay.
year or two before we did our RB Retold thing, and same format, same thing, but
Yeah.
obviously the scope was much bigger, and I was actually on that. Now, if anyone Googles Shrek Retold, you can see how many views it got. Um, I was originally on it, and I got a friend to do like a scene with me, and we were getting ready to shoot our scene for it, and out of nowhere, my friend just went, "Oh, I don't want to do this anymore," and I was like,
Damn.
"What?" And at the time, like 3GI had like maybe I think around 100,000 subscribers or something. Shrek Retold was the video that put them on the map, and I was saying like I think a lot of people will watch this. And my friend was like, "Yeah, I just kind of don't want to do it anymore," and I at the time
yeah.
I don't think I was making content as Derelict Country. So if I was where I am now, or even 2 or 3 years ago, I probably would have just done a machinima scene in Halo 3 or something,
Mhm.
just to put something together, just to submit something. But um I I basically didn't submit anything for Shrek Retold, and Shrek Retold came out and it got like a gajillion views. And I
Yeah,
was
it's a
really
great video. If you haven't
it
seen
is a
it,
great
it's
video.
awesome. I'm
It's
excited
so
for the
good.
second one.
Yeah, it's so good they even got Chris Chan in it to do a scene.
Wait,
Yes,
really?
yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
Christian
yeah,
did a scene, and it was
Damn.
honestly, it was a pretty good scene. I really enjoyed it.
right before the prison saga.
Yeah, no, I was about
Yeah.
to say
It was-
it's gotta be weird watching like a literal convicted criminal and something. It's like watching Donald Trump in Home Alone too.
Have you watched
yeah.
it?
Oh
Um,
man.
but I was very I was kind of peeved that I missed my opportunity with Shrek Retold.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get past it for a while, and I decided, oh, maybe we could do it with RB and Chief because RB and Chief already threads two kinds of mediums, and like there's the machinima side of it, there's the toy side of it, and the thing with the machinima side of it is that it already kind of breaches two kinds of forms of medium where machinima is one half just raw gameplay, and then there's also animation because all the animations that you see in video games are rigged animations that had to be put together by a team of artists and stuff. So I figured if we can like get people on board with the idea of representing these scenes in different ways, and Blizz covered this a few minutes ago, we had a really hard time explaining this to some people because some people would literally just recreate the scene one for one, and
Yeah.
we're like, "But I thought you were just recreating the scenes." You're like, "Yeah, but you can change things." And I should one day I'll go through, because I think Blizz went through. We had an email set up for the Retold series where people could submit to. I have to go through that email because we got tons of submissions where people would basically go totally off script with a scene, and they would distort the scene to a point where it wasn't even recognizable as anything from that episode. And that was the other extreme, right? One extreme was people recreating a scene one for one, which we didn't want, and the other extreme was people basically trying to like rewrite the episode themselves. And we were like, this isn't like a creative writing exercise. The middle ground is where people adhere to the script, make slight differences, and if you want to put in like Easter eggs or like in jokes, you can totally do that. But obviously, people got an inch and took a mile when they took that as carte blanche to put in as many swastikas as they could in the background.
Oh,
I was totally okay with. I was okay with the dicks personally, and in fairness,
Same.
I did the swastikas myself, but only in the first one, because back then it was like, haha, Lamau, look what we put in. But then it quickly became like dog whistling after that. I was like, okay, fuck. There was a time when it was almost fun to put edgy, offensive stuff in there, but now people have like made it not fun to do that anymore.
they, like, ruined it for everybody
because
else.
people unironically support those things, and that was a harsh reality we kind of came to grips with while running that server, I think.
Well, the thing that bothered me was that in my scene, I have like the scene where Chief holds up like the fucked up cover for Call of Duty to Arbiter, and in it I have like I have 3 like studio logos. I have N-Word Studios. I have I think it's Fagtavision with like a swastika, and then it's just the infinity symbol with the word Ward behind it. And also I put in the Twin Towers and a plane for no reason.
Dog.
And I know.
I think there's a 9/11 shot in my segment for the first one, so I'm not gonna.
I put a few.
Hey, it isn't actual footage. It's just a Photoshop of John standing in front of it.
Oh, okay.
Well, Blizz,
well, that's fine. That's much better.
You don't need to worry about it because there were no planes that day. It was all CG anyway, so you don't have to worry about it.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot it didn't actually happen. My bad.
Exactly. But like I like we were all doing that edgy stuff, and then people will get offended by that, and that's totally understandable. People might have like trauma or something connected to that, and I'm totally understanding of that. But that never irks me. What irks me is when people would come into the server and call me their buddy because I would be finding ways of saying like the N-word, or I'd be using swastikas and stuff. And again, I don't care if people find that stuff offensive. I get really worried when people think that's me trying to give the thumbs up to that stuff and thinking that I'm their friend because I do that stuff.
Yeah,
so,
and that happened a lot.
And that was the thing that made me stop doing that thing. I didn't have an iDubbbz moment where I was pussy whipped and made some cunt make me stop doing that. I was like, okay, I have really weird guys thinking that I'm their friend now, and that's not the case.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Personally, I'm not with the 9/11 jokes and like the
no.
The Third
it's
Reich
very
iconography. But
all I can really say is that I wouldn't have done some of those bits today with hindsight, but what's done is done, unfortunately.
Well,
and here we are to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of how the community was. That's how the vibe was. And so really, I wanted to be part of the project. The most I could do, because I knew that like things were you had some strange sorts in the clique. I'll put it like that. But personally, man,
that's a fucking understatement.
I'm not naming names, but it was one guy. He was like a particular asshole, and like I saw one time he like admitted to like browsing 4chan and shit, and I'm like, okay, well, I wouldn't admit that in public. Why are you admitting it on Discord? Either way, man, yeah, it's just the most I could do is just have my scene be fairly clean cut, as clean cut as I can get without saying the F word and screaming the word properly.
No, I loved your scenes for both retolds that I worked on.
Second one was better.
Yeah, I think the second one was better, but I like both of them a lot, honestly. And we were talking about this in DMs, but you did me a solid by doing an extension of your scene. in the second one. So thanks for that. I guess we'll talk more about that when we get Beam in the call from the next stream.
Yeah. Okay.
If we get Beam.
Okay. To be clear, I like I told Blizz, y'all, like I don't remember doing an extension, but like I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Was it
Someone dropped
me?
out. I forgot who it was. I think it might have been background, but I might be mistaken.
I I never took a good look at the Excel spreadsheet except just at the beginning, and that's about it.
Oh yeah.
I never look. I only started looking at the spreadsheet like when Hard
The
Justice retold
spread,
ran
the
around.
first retold spreadsheet is a complete mess. I can't believe we actually used this as a point of reference. But the second project spreadsheet, which I have open here too, it's pretty clean. So I'm happy with that.
Okay, I was about to say, is it like a psychopath made the first spreadsheet?
Well, we were talking about the inception of the project earlier, right? And I think one of the first things I did, or maybe I think it was one of the first things I did. I don't want to take credit for things Derelict did because I don't remember clearly all the. We pretty much just did whatever we had to do to get it done.
Yeah.
And I feel like the project was in production when I got on already. Like I think Derelict announced it and everything, but I'm not sure. And I don't know if he asked me to help or if I offered to help. But at some point, I offered to help, or he asked me to come on board to help with like managing stuff. And that's pretty much how I got involved in the projects.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, Derelict's a good friend, so happy to help where I can.
Yeah, no, you two work pretty well together. I mean, sometimes
Thanks.
you're like, I mean, sometimes with internet projects, you got how do I put this? Conflict of personality, or conflict of personality. That doesn't seem to be the case with RB Retold, like the first one especially, because I mean, it got made.
Well, we were talking in DMs earlier, and something Derelict said was like, even in relation to how we ran the server at the time, like we both wanted the same way, but we disagreed on. We both wanted the same thing, but we had different ways that we thought was ideal to go about getting it. So, like, if I really thought I was right, I would resist, and we would like discuss it, and eventually Derelict would concede, or he would give me a chance to like do it the way I said. And I'm sure there are situations that were the other way around where I said we should do something one way and Derelict suggested it another way. But yeah, Derelict and I generally have seen eye to eye on most projects we've worked on. I don't know if that's a stretch to say. We've just had different ideas of how to go about achieving it. And I don't think we had any big fights about RB Retold 1. I might be remembering wrong.
When it came to things like Retold, I would have taken a lead on though me and Blizz only really worked on one together, and that was the first one. I contributed a scene to the second one, but the second one was more Beam and Blizz.
Yeah,
yeah.
But then when it comes to oneself, like Blizz was essentially an executive producer on oneself, so he would have done a lot of the heavy lifting on that project. And
the best way to describe the amount of work I did on oneself is something Flick said very early on. He offered me a co-creator credit, which I declined. And that's probably the best way to talk about the work I did on that.
Oh my god!
But yeah, I Derelict knows a little bit about all the work I did for oneself and all the. I'm surprised we had that cast as together as it was for the longest time because all those people fucking hate each other.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Oh yeah. Pretty much. I mean, Derelict and I still get along, and I still talk to Flick sporadically, but like, a lot of that cast, they're just not people I engage with at all anymore because
it's like you could never
say bad people. Is the sad thing.
I wouldn't divulge the stuff on stream, but if you knew what was happening behind the scenes in that show, it's almost more wild than the fucking plot of the show, and that's saying something.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do a one-self stream one time.
I've been trying to get Flick to do a one-self stream, and he won't fucking do it. And like, Blizz tried to get him to do a director's commentary. I think Kirk tried to get him to do director's commentary, people have not been shy about wanting him to do it, and he won't just fucking nut up and do it, you know?
We did do Flick and I did do a commentary for episode 1, and I think that video is deleted now because he got his channel annihilated sometime last year.
Whoa, what happened?
I don't know. Derelict probably has a better idea than me, but I'm really not up to date with that shit anymore.
There's a girl called Zais or Catgirl Uwu. They did 1 or 2 scenes for Retold. Really, really good scenes, by the way.
Yeah,
and
Catgirl is cool. I know of her.
Yeah. And Flick did a video for her where I think he played like some kind of NSFW Newgrounds game or something.
Yo!
And like
that really what happened?
Yeah. For like a birthday video for her. I know. And it's like it's only like a no-brainer. It's only common sense.
No, what was he thinking?
I mean, if we're being honest, there was some really heinous shit in oneself. Like, I think the most complicated shot of that whole show, Derelict might be able to interject here, but I guess this is a spoiler. No one's gonna watch it anyway, so whatever. My character comes back to life in the last episode that was produced. He comes back to life, and
Okay.
I asked my friend who's worked on animations for Netflix, and like, actually, I asked 2 of my animator friends to help. Basically, Chef, the character chief, he's floating down from the sky. 3 animated cocks circle above his head and then come on him, and they create a cocoon, and it explodes, and he's reincarnated as a white version of himself. It's like Lord of the Rings reference, I guess.
You're Master Chief, the Bukake.
I am Master Chief the Bukake, or something like that.
Now, okay, for the sake of completeness, I want to be clear here. Was it the Newgrounds porn game, or was it the Lord of the Rings smut that got his channel taken down?
It was the Newgrounds game.
Okay.
Yeah, like and his channel was like, I mean, I'm not gonna say it was like pushing through or anything, but like it was an all right standing. And he told me
9/11 footage in like one of the episodes of One Side.
Yeah, but we all did.
We all did.
It was a different time.
Yeah, if
it's 5 years ago, come on.
I have like 5 different videos referencing 9/11 on my fucking channel. I'm still here, and just to be clear, I shouldn't be here. My channel should be gone a long time ago. The thing with Flick is like he told me that when his channel got deleted, he said that he actually had everything backed up because all the One Self episodes went back up pretty quickly, as did the he did Let's Plays for a little while. Those went back up quickly as well. And I don't know why he hasn't re-uploaded everything, because those commentaries were really good. And for a while he did reaction videos. I don't know if you 2 saw them. He did reaction videos to Morgan's Halo Figure Chronicles. Jarvis has been in those streams. And he did reaction videos to D27 Chigu's Machinima videos. And they're fucking hilarious. And I don't know why he won't put them up, because they're really funny.
Yeah, some of that stuff might just be lost media, unfortunately. I would have archived some of that stuff if I had the hindsight, but at a certain point I just wanted to fucking move on.
we can tie this back to Retold though, because I think when Retold we did from like, I think it was summer or spring 2020 up until, you know, whenever Hard Justice Retold came out, and One Self was being made, I think, from early 2019 up to like summer 2021 or something. And the production of those projects overlapped, because I remember having talks between Blizz and Flick about how they were going to like pull resources away from making an episode of One Self, just purely so we can give like give a month to a retold scene, and then you can go back to One Self, because we would only do 2 retolds a year at most. So and Flick was like understandably concerned about that. But I was trying to say to him, like, I would never want to get in the way of One Self, because oh, you meant to be a joke.
Taking away my producer. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
What you doing? Yeah, because like the thing is, Blizz will recall this really well. When One Self first started, I hated Flick because I was convinced he was a troll, or like someone.
Flick did not seem like a real person. I can assure everyone he is.
Why does he seem like a troll?
Okay, I know personal details of Flick that I shouldn't divulge, but
Please don't.
Flick has a very distinct way of typing, and that actually comes from like health problem he has. Not to be
Oh.
too specific, yeah.
Oh fuck.
So like his typing was so incomprehensibly terrible. It's like how Chief would write on RB and the Chief. You know, it's like leet speak, and like Flick just genuinely like had Flick just had a really hard time. Damn it, hold on. Flick had a really hard time typing, and it seemed honestly when I first
Okay.
talked to him, I thought he was a troll too. And if I recall things correctly, I think I was one of the only people in the server who actually like reached out to Flick and was like, "Hey, you know, people are reacting to you this way because of this." And I just explained to him, and he's like, "Oh, well, you know, I have this health problem that causes me to do that." I'm like, "Okay, that makes sense." And then I talked to him enough, and I felt like I think this guy is actually real. And trying to convince other people was like a downhill battle or uphill battle because like it, you know, everyone is like using an alt in that server. Everyone's like trolling,
What the
and
fuck?
it wouldn't be. Yeah, it was a fucking shit show at the time, and so we'll talk about that more another time. But yeah, he was a bit worried about the production being affected, which is funny because like there hasn't been a one self episode in like 4 years now or something like
Okay,
that.
okay, real quick. Just to have some context about oneself, when did the show first premiere and when was the last episode released? Because everything's been re-uploaded. I can't.
Oh shit! I'll
You're the
need to check
producer. You
the.
should know.
I should. Well, this is why I made the one self IMDb page.
Someone made a wiki as well, didn't they?
Yeah, there's a
Yes,
wiki.
there. I don't know where the wiki's
Fuck,
at.
let me look at the wiki. Shit.
Started in 2019. If I had to guess, I think it was probably like spring, summer 2019.
Springs. That's when it
Yeah.
started.
But yeah,
Okay. But yeah, when was the last
something
episode
like
though?
that. Oh,
June. Oh. Well, actually, the good person to ask is Antivirus because Antivirus was
oh my
routinely
god,
posted
does
on
he
how many
still
days it
do
was
that?
since the last episode.
Oh wait, actually, the
he still
IMDb
does
has the
that, yeah.
dates. First premiere of oneself was March 26th, 2019, and the last episode was June 21st, 2020, and that's where it's been
Oh,
left at.
I think.
Yeah.
Fuck, I think I might remember when that came out. But God, okay, so it ran for 1 year and it's not technically done, right?
No, it might be done. I've talked to Flick about it, and it's had a bunch of false starts. We almost did it like around the time the original production was happening, and honestly, the reason why it stopped, there's a few reasons, but the big reason was
God.
basically we lost John. Like we lost the John cameo, and he was going to be a pretty big part of that episode. Actually, Flick wrote a lot of lines, and I was the one who was like talking to John, like getting him on board. And we had him like fully on board. He had a script and everything. I was waiting for him to turn in lines, and something happened in his email, and he
Oh
learned about
God.
some of the nature of the people in the Discord server.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
wasn't really much I could do other than like, all right, I get it. Thank you for whatever.
Okay.
But that kind of killed, I think, Flick's passion for it. He says he's rewritten a script, or he's gonna make it someday, but honestly, I think I don't know how it'll happen. I'm down. I'm not down for being a producer again because I don't want to deal with most of those people anymore. But it's not. I'm not the one preventing it from happening. And I would say at this point, most people that were involved, even though we all kind of hate each other now, probably would still do it. Like if Flick ever decides to finish it, I would like to think that we would
Yeah.
put aside our differences for this last thing and just get it done because it was something we worked on. But yeah, lots of people who worked on Retold also worked on oneself or did voices for oneself. Oneself is interesting in a sense because we had so many different mediums, animators, artists just do random shit for it, and a lot of those people were also on both Retolds that I worked on.
Yeah. That
And
was
probably the later ones, but you'd have to ask Derelict about that.
Yeah, man. That was the best part of oneself, and to me, it kind of felt like a was it a variety show, you know? Because
I will say this: I was
yeah.
watching Smiling Friends, I don't know if you guys have seen that show. It's pretty popular right now.
I've not.
Their mix of mediums remind me of shit we were doing in oneself like 5 years ago.
I think
And-
Yeah.
yeah, you'd really like Smiling Friends because you're a big animation head, and I think
Not really.
Smiling Friends. You are not?
No, I
Okay,
fucking hate animation.
never mind.
I like
I
some shows.
love animation.
Because like Smiling Friends is very much a celebration of animation in a lot of ways, and that's one thing that Oneself and Retold had in common. Where if you were coming off of Oneself, or even if you were just in the background watching as an audience member, you'd see a lot of familiar faces between Retold and Oneself. That
Yeah.
you know it wouldn't be like again you had like Gora in Oneself, and I don't think we had Gora,
Which is just some Indian guy on a green screen. I didn't even know it was gonna be in the episode, but like he's like, "Hello, Aladar, welcome to India," and I'm just like, "What the fuck? I didn't know this was gonna be in the episode."
Why the fuck did Aladar go to India?
No, dude, this show
They went to
doesn't make
Sand
any-
Trap.
He went to Sand Trap, and
Yo-
Flick called that
Oh my
India,
God.
I guess.
That is. Yeah, let me stop. Let me stop.
Anyway, we'll do a one-self stream sometime. Let's focus on
Yeah, we
Retold,
gotta
but-
talk about Retold, man.
I'm sorry to bring it up. It's just like a lot of cross pollination between the two projects because the first Retold and I believe the second one were basically in production at like the same time as oneself. But yeah, that's why we're bringing it up.
Okay.
So
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more I can say about Oneself, especially because you said like John dropped out after he found out what was going on the server, even though he gets on a podcast like every other Saturday with people who do nothing but complain about women for 3 or 4 hours straight. But I digress.
yeah,
I haven't been on a stream with John.
Huh?
I've never done a stream with John.
yeah, John.
My bad.
John really needs to put his foot down on what he believes and not be so wishy-washy about it anymore.
I've known what he believes since like he had that rant about like postmodernism, which I didn't know what the hell he was talking about, and I still don't know. Like 5 years later.
He's a very talented writer, and I wish he would. I wish he would just make stuff that wasn't just machinima, because he has a lot of talent that isn't being used to its full potential.
I'll say this: season 6. Wait, no. Season 1 through season 7 of RB was very good. I'll say that.
I haven't watched the most of the newer episodes.
Good.
Like I think I stopped around like I think my favorite season was like 4 or 5. I like the more simple plots than the dramatic stuff, even though some of that dramatic stuff is well done considering the medium. But I prefer the more comedy oriented RB and the Chief than the dramatic stuff. Which is another reason why I think John should just go into different areas. If he wants to do drama, there's probably better ways to do it than in a 15-year-old video game. But...
Well, when we talk about John and we talk about Retold, we also have to like talk about his reactions as well, because he did react to the first two.
Yeah.
And I want to like, as much as I would complain about John, I would be remiss if I didn't at least acknowledge how much his reactions did for promoting those first two videos as well.
Yeah, that did do a lot.
And you know, it was a wholesome thing to have Steve Downs. Like I bought the cameo off him, but people got energized because most people knew what each other was submitting for Retold, but nobody knew that cameo was in there. I think other than Blizz, until we actually premiered that.
Yeah, that
It
was
was a pretty big deal. Yeah, never
think-
really could top that cameo, but Santa was pretty good in the second one, I guess.
Yeah, which John was like visibly confused by, as if it could be anybody other than just Saint Nicholas.
It's fucking Santa, dude. He loves RB and the Chief. All right.
You know, my favorite thing about that cameo is that John was already confused about who it was, and then I had him say the bit about investigate voter fraud, and it totally threw him for a loop. And you can even see that the guy playing Santa is confused about what the fuck that could possibly mean as well.
Oh yeah, because that was right after the election.
It was right after the election, yeah.
Jesus, man.
Oh god. Like I'm just skimming through the second one now, and we had who you said like I know who Blizz is talking about when he says that we've had people work on Retold who have gone on to Netflix. I know exactly who he's talking about. People who were extremely generous. Yeah.
I think you told me, but the guy who did the stop motion in both the retolds I worked on, he's like working on Robot Chicken
Who,
now, I
Mutroid?
think. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mutroid, yeah.
Damn.
He was fantastic. He was a great guy.
Oh, that's crazy. No,
He
I
was
saw
also on
that.
time.
Yeah.
So it was good
Dude.
on him.
Had the
Oh,
heart
was it?
scene. So on time.
I think it was it. Was it the first retold? I don't remember which one it was. It has to be the first one because he only ever did 2 retolds. For the first retold, he was on board very early on, and then he went radio silent. And not because he stopped talking to us. We just didn't. We assumed that he was like busy in the background and he was working on the scene. And we went
Mhm.
back to him saying, "By the way, because when we did the retolds, you noticed yourself, Jarvis. Whenever we give people the chance to set their own
Yeah.
deadlines. So if we're shooting for Christmas or spring, we'll usually start 6 months out. And then coming up on like 2 weeks or a week out, we'll say, by the way, deadline's coming up. Do you need an extension or what? We came to Mutroid, I think like maybe a week and a half out from his deadline. And he's like, oh shit, I totally forgot about it. Just give me a few days. And so he'd forgotten about it. We were like, oh fuck, okay, he'll need an extension. And it's like, do you know what? We can give him that extension because he's a hard worker and I think he'll tie the thing together. Didn't need an extension. He put that entire scene together in like 2 or 3 fucking days.
Let's go.
Yeah, which is insane because if you know anything about how stop motion works, even if you already have like models pre-made, like just
Yeah.
positioning, taking those photos, it's a huge pain in the
Yeah.
ass.
And he had to like paint
So-
out some of the rigs. 'Cause I saw he did behind the scenes.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
So that must have
Oh
been a
man,
bitch.
he did great. He was wonderful to work with.
That was a fantastic. He did some fantastic scenes. I think the main
Yeah.
one I remember is from. Oh, fuck, it was either 1 or 2, but he did some great shit, man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, I talked to Blizz about this before the stream. And I think Blizz said that you said that your favorite was the second retold, right?
Out of 1 and 2, yeah, the second I think is better.
But like Blizz's, I think Blizz's favorite is the second. But like, what's your favorite? You said yours is of all of them, Jarvis. What's your favorite?
Of all of them, oh god, I think my personal favorite out of every single one is probably Hard Justice. But
Oh wow.
aside from that, it would be 1 just because if I didn't do 1, then I don't think I would have had the confidence to do some of my other projects that had the same sort of animation style. But I think 2 is just technically better made
Okay.
Damn.
in terms of
Thank
like
you.
my scenes.
I
But
appreciate that.
yeah, when it's down to 1 and 2, like paradoxically, I think 2 is better.
Yeah, I exerted a bit more control in the second one because Derelict wasn't running the show and I was running it with Beam.
Yeah.
So we were talking about, I was talking to Derelict about this in DMs too, but my big goal with the second one was just make it more consistent and varied. Is if that makes any sense. So
Oh, yeah.
we divided the timestamps up so they're like a bit smaller than I think the first one. I have the spreadsheet here so I can actually look at it. But
Oh shit.
yeah, we wanted to diversify. We wanted to make sure we weren't having the same people do different scenes because we had a problem with that on the first one, I think, where some people just bailed. Or I think even you did 2 scenes in the first one, Jarvis, or maybe the spreadsheet is wrong. It's
I
been a
did.
while.
I have it on my hard drive. I did. I know
Yeah.
I did 2 for the first one. For the second one, I forget how many.
You did 2 scenes, but something we also like Beam and I wanted to do was like we wanted to make sure it was like consistent in quality. So we tried to pick people who were good and get them involved in that regard. But the nice thing about that is that because we had pretty solid people all around for Retold 2, not to say anyone in Retold 1 was like outright bad, but it was like easy to be like, oh, okay, so I can ask Jarvis, or I think the guy who was after you was Epsilon in Retold 2,
Yes,
and
it
we
was
could ask
Epsilon.
either one of you guys to like, can you make an extension to your scene, like start a little before, or
Yes.
do a little after, instead of like BMRI having to like scramble to make something, because I think I technically like got I don't think I got credited for any scene in the first one. I don't remember. Fuck.
Surely you
I
got credited for the scenes you did, right?
well, when I say credited, I mean like when I look at the spreadsheet. Oh, I did get credited for some stuff. I'm sorry. I'm just I'm trying to remember it all. I did a lot more editing on Retold 1 than 2. But yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, no, yeah, cuz I'm looking at my final scenes right now. It was I have
Mhm.
3 scenes or 3 video files for Retold number 2 because I think you did ask me to extend the scene a little bit farther. So you guys
Yeah.
I selected a 27-second scene, then you guys had me do like 22 seconds more footage and then like
Yeah,
57
let me
seconds
look at
more
the
footage.
let me look at the spreadsheet. Yeah, that sounds about right. And I don't know, it still it made sense to me just to like do that, like have people do an extension rather than Beam and I like
Oh yeah.
hurrying to do something because like there were some like bits on the first one like that Barbie scene. I think that was me scrambling to fill in like a slot. And we credited like my
Shit, it
my
was funny.
partner at the time, and I think she got credited for that. um
Yeah.
but I think that was like me going like, okay, we need to fill in the slot. My partner has Barbies, let's just fucking do this, and we'll have girls play them. That'd be fun, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let me just say, I mean, was it on Retold 2? I believe
Mhm.
it was. You were pretty apologetic about getting me to do like so many extensions because I think I really only picked one scene at first and then you guys have to do the extensions. I think it was
Yeah.
fine because if you know you have contributors who will get the workout on time, then I mean it's
Yeah.
good just to ask them to be reservists because I had a feeling that's what was going on. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
clearly they're having
like
some
for
issues.
Derelict's scene, in Retold 2, he did I think only you and him did extended scenes.
Oh
Like you
really?
took 2 scenes instead of 1 that we divided out. The choice I had there was, okay, well, the person who's after Derelict is Flick.
Okay.
So I guess I'm just gonna ask Derelict, and I know Derelict probably wouldn't have a big problem doing that, and he's reliable when it comes to that stuff. So
Yeah.
um, Derelict had his hands quite a bit on Retold too, in some sense. I definitely felt him
Yeah.
in the back seat while I was driving. I'll say
Mm.
that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like, I think that
Felt him in the back
Beam
seat.
had come to me, I think, the night before it premiered and shown me the cut, and I don't know if he wanted feedback or not because I think it had already been scheduled to premiere, so I don't
Yeah,
know what my feedback was going to do. But I had seen it, and Beam had come to me maybe once or twice, not much, but he'd come to me with like what he was working on. I was like, the only reason I one of the only reasons I didn't do Retold 2 in terms of like directing or producing or whatever is because I was in my final year of college and I had to like knuckle down for my premiere. Like I think I stopped most of my uploads for that six
yeah,
or seven
Mm.
month
Yeah.
period. But so I was like I was like half awake when he showed it to me. And Beam was, in fairness to Beam, he was so energetic and so excited to show me what he had done. And I was like, yeah, dude, looks great. All right. Yep. Okay.
Dog. Okay, I know that must have been hell because there's a time zone difference between you and Beam. I know that. Okay. So you
yeah.
were like locked in the university shit.
There was a time zone
That's
difference
crazy.
between Beam and I too. I've been living in Poland for like 13 years.
Yeah.
So I collabed pretty well with Beam. Beam's really specific about certain things, and he generally conceded to me. Like he was the director of the project, but I think it's more because he did the editing, and I'm pretty shy to accept credit for things.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah.
Nah, that's fair. It was like, nah, that's a mark of a good collaboration, isn't it? It's like, I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
do you have a
I
front
would say.
man who takes like the public credit, but I mean, both of y'all, added some
Anyone who's in the know knows that I did a lot, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
I'm fine with that.
I've
Anyway,
heard
yeah, go ahead there.
we had people reach out who, because obviously when you have people that are when you have a project that makes a pretty notable splash in a certain community, you're going to have a certain amount of people that like it, and you're going to have people who don't like it. And we had people who had voiced a concern that why is it being hosted on Derelict's channel, or like why is there that's collecting all the accolades of it? Like, why aren't you making like a separate channel just for the retolds and stuff?
Fucking
And
stupid. It had to be
yeah.
uploaded somewhere, and Derelict
I know,
literally edited and set up the project. So who gives a fuck? Like,
but I
come
would
on.
want to like, I would want to like take that criticism head on, because I don't think it's an invalid thing to say, because
Yeah.
keep in mind the editing, it in a lot of ways there isn't too much in the editing. Like, you put one scene after the other, but if you're clever about it, you'll like crossfade the audio, so at least there's some kind of smooth transition. If some scenes are
Yeah.
letterboxed, you might do a transition with the letterbox, or maybe bring all of them into like a more consistent aspect ratio. But I think as long as whoever's running it does like one or two scenes themselves, they can at least have their toe in the water to a point where they can at least collect on it and upload it. But I feel like if you have it, if we made a separate YouTube channel, it'd be so hard to bring traffic to it, you know. Whereas if you have a channel that's somewhat regularly uploading, be it my channel or Beams,
Yeah.
at least it's going to be in the slipstream where it'll very least get recommended, you know.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Like
Oh man.
I've had similar experiences with like collaborative projects, and in the end it always just comes down to you gotta put it on the bigger channel if you can. That's
Yeah,
really all it is.
for me, like, it was pretty obvious to me that like where the video would be uploaded. Like, I didn't mind Beam uploading it onto his channel. I know it might be confusing for people now that there's like few retolds, more than just two. But and most of them are on Derelict's channel. But for me, it just was like, I don't think Derelict's gonna upload it or feel comfortable with uploading it. I don't really want to upload it because like I shirk away from that kind of credit, and I didn't have a problem with Beam having it on his channel. Like
Oh,
I
for
said, it
sure.
was his final edit in the end, and that's kind of how I
Yeah.
thought about it.
Yeah, there you go. And I
Um,
mean, also got to look at it this way. The fans of Beam's channel, they were probably starved for any kind of content because he did that one RB next gen video in 2019 and then proceeded to not release another one for like 3 years, which
yeah.
it's I mean it's not a big deal. I just always find it weird that it took him 3 years to get that out. Well, when I get him on, I gotta ask him about that because
For
I'm
more
pretty curious.
information, watch Machinophobic with Immortal Dream Entertainment.
Oh fuck! Oh, see, I didn't know you did a machinophobic with. Okay, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna have to
It's
watch that.
Flick's least favorite episode, because it's like an
Really?
hour. It's like 2 hours, and me and Flick talk for maybe 15 minutes.
Wait, wait. Okay, that just means you had enthusiastic guess. Shit. I mean,
But I mean, like, Flick was like a little annoyed about it, and the funny thing about Flick is a little bit like whatever, but he always knows how to like bring levity to something. And we finished that episode. And I was like, oh yeah, like thanks for having us on Beam as guests on our own podcast. And Flick was like, fuck's sake, we've never even fucking talked. And yeah,
Oh, I love Flick.
Oh
Oh,
god, I
jeez.
need to watch that. Holy shit.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh
I
man.
I like watching those podcasts just because I don't listen to the whole thing. I've gotten used to hearing my voice, which is good, but I like listening to the start and the ends where we have like the sponsor jokes or like the outro jokes,
Yeah.
because it's just me fucking with Flick, and it's the best thing.
So good.
Mm.
That's fucking awesome, man. Okay. Well, back on topic. Moving on to
Mhm.
question 5. This is this is a really personal question because I always like finding out like with movies and TV shows when did the project start? Because I think like nothing's really set in stone until like the cameras are rolling and you get like everything you need to. So my question is, when did you guys like officially start the project? When do you guys think that day was, or around the time period? Because I know Derelict contacted me like after this was a thing.
That's a good question. I guess I'd need to go back into because the original server,
Yeah,
for still exists. It's just locked down.
it's
Um,
shuttered.
It's shuttered, yeah. I'd say it was probably early 2020, because I wanted to open up the
Yeah.
new year with, and I don't know if maybe I talked to Blizz about it, or so I talked to probably somebody about it, saying like, what the idea was and would people be up for it and stuff, because people were on board for things like Abnormality 3 or Cuckmas Carol, and
Yeah.
it's very easy to get people on board for things like that, because it's in a lot of ways it's like oneself, where you're just recruiting people for voice talent, but now we're asking people to like start their own scenes, cut their own scenes, and now people have to do like a degree of their own heavy lifting,
Yeah.
and that's only going to be innate to people like yourself who are content creators already. When you have people who have no bead for how a video goes from soup to nuts, it's going to be a little daunting for them. And
Yeah.
like I just talked about this a few moments ago, but like obviously a lot of my channel's content has like been centered around John and his content, and I
Yeah.
am very desperate to come away from that. I don't want to be like coasting off of John's like coattails or like eating his table scraps. But one of the things that I've been grateful enough to have John acknowledge my content, and I've gotten a lot of subs from that. One of my big things with Retold was to hopefully give a platform to up and coming content creators for them to like try their hand at something, have their name in the description and build from that. And you see, like for people like Maro, who has done almost every Retold to date, he's actually never made any content prior to that. And he's gone from like doing puppetry with Bionicle to like doing a rudimentary animation,
Oh,
doing
that's
like a little
great.
bit of, and he still hasn't made fucking any
Yep.
content on his channel. But at least he's like gotten the ball rolling, and he knows how he would even start doing it.
Yeah.
And that's outside of like the community aspect and us all being like, "Oh, John is smiling," and outside of that, we could all kind of at least take away a bit of personal value from it. Like I've been teaching myself Blender since late 2021, I guess. And most of the stuff that I'm learning, you can see going through a lot of my stuff in the retools, because I'm not using it in a selfish way for clout, but I am using it in a selfish way to develop my skills and hopefully not flex them, but at least showcase them. And I'm glad that
Yeah.
other people
Excuse
have
me.
taken that opportunity as well, because you and your partner have like a good grasp, Blizz. Your old partner had a good
Hmm.
grasp on like illustration and stuff, and that's
Yeah.
always been showcased in your scenes.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see some examples of that in the when we watch the video, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, man. And what is it? I think Derelict, you're 100% right. I mean, um, what was it? I mean, even if Retold didn't give me like a boost in exposure or subs, and I mean it did, and that was pretty
Oh, that's cool.
encouraging. But I think the biggest thing is that it pushed me to do something I wouldn't have done because um I think I forget when you contacted me about Retold Derelict, but a couple months before that I'd put out this movie called Spartan Love with one of the co-founders of Voyager Arts YT, Vormaster, and that was a sort of Halo thing, like a Halo movie, and I think doing when you asked me to do Retold, I think some of my I I don't know how to say it. Like I had the idea to do the same thing but differently. So I had like actual armatures and rigs, and that was like shit that I'd never really done before, and I had to do it for another project. But I thought, you know what, I can completely fuck this up in Retold, but at least I'm trying, and it came out somewhat coherently. So I'm happy about that. It came out somewhat coherently, but I think that if I hadn't done Retold, I wouldn't have pushed myself to do something I would have otherwise done. And also had a freelance project that fucking sucked that I need to distract myself from. And Retold let me do that.
I think,
Oh,
and
that's
that's a good
great.
thing. I can see, at least I can see in your scenes, like I can see a progression of your style and it growing.
Hmm.
And I hope you see it yourself, because
Yeah.
that's really the only person who really needs to see it.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely true.
Yeah, no. Yeah, like the animation and the Hard Justice Retold one. It's not great. It's not Pixar level, but it's what you
Stylized
call
and funny, so it works for me.
yeah, it's a lot more stylized than like stolen assets from 405th Armory. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Shout out to the Halo archive.
Oh yeah. Uh, is that them? The 405th?
No, well, those are like the cosplay fellas, right?
Yeah, 405th. I think that I don't know. They just have like 3D printing files.
Sure. I use the Halo Archive because they basically have like ripped game assets and a lot of fan-made
Fuck.
assets, and they 9 times out of 10 they'll be rigged for software suites like Blender. So
Mm.
if you can like get your head around IK rigs and is what's the other one, FK rigs? I can't remember the two kinds.
For yeah, I
But if
like
you
forward kinematic.
yeah, if you get your head around those, it's like a simple posing, and that's what I do for a lot of like my
Eh.
Blender commissions and stuff now, or my animations. This is like Control C with the what's it, the Rockoro and Mixamo stuff. God, I'm one of the laziest content creators I know, but I'm so thankful to be surrounded by people who do all the hard work for me.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it lazy. It's just economical because making your own rigs with IK and I don't use FK, but I use IK, and it's very very time consuming. Like
Mm.
especially if you want to get it right. I was doing like a human rig, that I did in like Adobe Fuse 2020, and that was a nightmare to get rigged. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I think it lets me have more control over how I do the animation. But there's nothing wrong with using pre-made rigs if you like already got your own animation that you can like legally use.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, there you go. All right then. Moving on to question 6. What was the biggest challenge on Retold One?
Retold
Uh,
one.
let's see.
I think on Retold one, because Blizz was like insanely focused on when he did Retold 2. Like he had took all the right information from the first one, and it made. Blizz can correct me, but it seemed like in a
Mm.
lot of ways that process was a lot more seamless. I think one of the reasons I kind of enlisted Blizz in the first one is just because I'm not an organized person. I'm quite messy, and Blizz brought a lot of organization to it in terms of like doing the spreadsheet and like reaching out to people and like distributing the amount of labor that was needed.
Yeah.
Um, that was, I guess, for me on the first one, that was probably the thing that kind of that I needed help with, and I had because I'm not an organized guy. I even have problems with it now on smaller videos and stuff like every
Yeah.
retold since the second has basically just been me on my own, and it's been a fucking nightmare. So,
I'm
um,
sorry.
no, no, like again, the only reason the first one came through is because you helped me out. Um, I'll burp. I'm just gonna get some water.
No
You
problem.
can answer.
All right, man.
Mm.
Okay. I guess we can take this sort of natural break to uh take a look at the chat. Okay, like the first two messages that we got were redacted because they were asking about some drama in the SML community. Which, I mean, how many people are watching? We got one person watching. I think.
Yeah,
I
something
think.
like that.
Okay, I think I can mention this to you, Bliss. So it's like, you
Hmm.
you know SML, right?
Not off the top of my head.
They're like the puppet, like Jeffy, dude with the
Oh,
pencil up his nose.
yeah, I think so. I think I know something about that.
Okay, well, long story short, very very long story short, it's like an 8-year saga. Basically, what
Uh-huh.
happened was SML had to schedule like 6 videos a week for like 2 weeks straight, and it was a whole thing. And it was more than 6 videos, but they had 3 main videos a week that they filmed like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So they only have one day to shoot everything, and so the episodes were complete shit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so people came out and said, "Stop doing this. This is an awful schedule." And I made some videos talking about how the schedule sucked, and I got a whole bunch of views doing it. So I come to find out that yesterday, or maybe the day before that, he got in a car crash because he was filming a Fast and Furious parody.
Oh my God. Holy shit. That's
Yeah,
awful.
and he broke a couple of his vertebrae. And he's wearing a back brace and everything. He said, "No new videos until next Saturday." And I'm like, I don't.
Jesus, dude.
It's like,
What a grind.
and it's like in the videos, people were saying he's gonna burn himself out, and then literally, no, he literally crashes himself out. Like, dude. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say about it. Like, prayers up for him, but I'm like, dude, I hope this is a wake up call. I hope this is like a come to Jesus moment, you know.
Yeah, same. Jesus.
And I mean
Poor
that in
guy.
a real way, not in like a pussified Joe Biden way. I mean like
No, no, I get
seriously,
you. I get
seriously.
you.
It's serious, man. It's like
No, I agree.
it's a mess. And then there was some other stuff with the with SML as well, and it's some crazy shit that's it's gonna blow up. Like, oh man, I don't know if anybody watching this like on Divad or whatever is gonna know exactly what I'm talking about, but it's this cartoon reviewer channel who's basically turning into Magnum PI, and he released some shit, and this is like some Drake level shit.
Oh damn,
Yeah, let me put it like
pretty
that.
heavy.
No, it is extremely
Suppose
heavy. This is bad.
he is not like us, I presume.
You know, we aren't pedophiles, so yeah. Oh wait, oh no, fuck, wait a second. Okay, so now I said
Damn.
that everybody knows exactly who I'm talking about. It's a crap. Dang it. You know what? And everyone's gonna make videos about it. Personally, I just don't want to see it. I really don't want to see it. But people are gonna say, the XYZ YouTuber. Well, I always knew there was something weird about him. Like, please shut the fuck up. We're all fucking black guys complaining about the same fucking puppet show. Let's not go there. Anyway.
Enough.
I'm the black guy who complains the most, actually.
You complain the most about SML?
I guess no. I've watched only one or two SML videos, and it's only because Power Gaming You told me that he had a fear of him.
A fear of him?
Really?
Yeah, it was one of the characters, Joshy or Joggy or
Oh,
something. I
Jeffy.
forget the name.
Jeffy.
Jeffy, yeah, he had a fear of Jeffy. Yeah.
Nigga, how are you afraid of Jeffy?
Puppets are scary for some people. Like my ex was super afraid of the Muppets. She
Yo, I'm
thought,
about to say, what, this nigga scared of a Muppet? You're scared of Kermit?
dude, it's like an uncanny valley thing for some people. I think that's really what it is. Like,
Dude.
it just looks weird for some people.
I don't understand it. That's like the people who say they don't like stop motion because it's creepy. I'm like, so you can't watch something like Wallace and Gromit without like shitting yourself in terror? Is that what's happening?
For some people, to be honest, I think Wallace and Gromit has a
How?
kind of frightening looking style. I wouldn't say it's the most appealing looking thing.
What? Oh my god! You know what? I don't know. I might be the different one because I love stop motion. I love all stop motion like Leica animation.
Oh, me too.
But
I
I just don't see it as
absolutely love
creepy.
it.
Okay, it's boring sometimes, but I don't think it's creepy.
Yeah, fair
The
enough.
Cowardly Dog had a good idea of navigating the uncanny valley between different animation styles, I think.
I agree. Whenever I think of that show, I always remember the Return the Slab CG guy. I
Wait,
don't
which
know if
show?
you've Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Courage the Cowardly. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Cartoon Network animated series from like what, early to mid 2000s? I don't remember. It was
Like,
a while
yeah,
ago.
that show was a bit before my time, but I used to like it whenever it came on, like Boomerang and shit.
Yeah, it's a cool show. I recommend it.
Yeah.
Isn't that ironic that Boomerang is now just a show for boomers?
Wait, wait, wait,
I
wait.
thought Boomerang was a channel.
Well, channel,
Wait.
they get channel for boomers, yeah.
What? Okay, that's not true. Okay, and I know we're not supposed to be talking about this. I just wanna correct y'all real quick. Boomerang. It used to be this channel where they play like Looney Tunes for boomers, so boomers could watch it. Now it's to the point where
Yeah.
they play like The Amazing World of Gumball and Teen Titans Go and regular show reruns all day, all the time.
I'm
With
down
no
for regular show reruns, if I'm being honest.
But
I
what
wouldn't say
boomer?
it's old though, especially old anyway.
I mean, shit. I used to watch it when I was like a fucking
They
like
should just
little
make
ass
like
kid. So
Cartoon Network 2, like MTV 2, and
it
just
is
put that shit on
Cartoon
there.
Network too, and like yeah, like MTV2. MTV2 was actually goated because they used to play Everybody Hates Chris. But like two channels, they just
Fair.
suck. Make it original, like Boomerang for boomers. That's a great idea.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think the problem is that culture has shifted over because you probably don't know, but like the original Boomerang was actually how the original Cartoon Network was set up before they started like getting like original content.
Oh,
And so like their first original Cartoon Network shows, it was like I think it was like Powerpuff Girls, Johnny Bravo,
those were some of the first.
and there's some other things too. Those are just the ones coming to
Yeah.
my
The
head.
first was Space Ghost, and then that got moved to Adult
Oh
Swim.
yeah, well yes, you're right. That is like the first original production, but I mean like that show was made on like a shoestring budget, which is why they
Yeah.
borrow like cell animation from like
Yeah.
fucking 60s of Space
Yeah.
Ghost. But like their first fully original production was like some Hanna-Barbera
Yeah.
shit,
No, the
like the Powerpuff Girls.
cartoons. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I remember they used to play some of the cartoons like late at night. Or not. It was like right before Adult Swim. They used to call it like Cartoon Planet. It was like I Am Weasel and shit, and like
Yeah, I remember that.
Robotomy. That
Yeah,
was great. In
good
like
stuff.
2012. No, bro, that was fucking awesome. Okay, but anyway, we're not talking about that. This isn't.
It's all good.
This isn't. This isn't one of those fucking cartoon streams where I rant about how much I hate the modern animation industry. All right, so
Fair enough.
I guess we answered question 6, the biggest challenge on RETOLD. And then question 7 is, how did you guys go about managing all the contributors?
Well, we right before the stream actually, like I was talking to Derelict, like, oh shit, do we still have the project spreadsheet? Because I made like I think I made the spreadsheet for the first 2 retolds. Derelict made the rest, obviously. The way we managed it was we had the spreadsheet. We had a spreadsheet with like the episode links that we could just immediately have as a reference.
Mm.
Our original plan, or Derelict's original plan, was to do the first 4 episodes of season 1. At least that's what it looks like to me when I look at this spreadsheet, because we actually have like 4 like divided up into timestamps.
Oh,
The 4th.
Joe, I think I think I was planning on doing the entire first season, and as we were going through the 4th episode, it dawned on me that we were barely getting enough for episode 3, so we cut season 1 in half. I think that's what happened there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then my goal with Beam was to finish off the rest of season 1, which I'm really happy we did, obviously. But yeah, well, I think Derelict did all the timestamps in Retold 1, so he'd have to tell you about like how he chose to like divide those.
Yeah.
My approach on Retold 2 was basically just taking what I learned from Retold 1, and one thing I thought was that segments were too long on Retold 1. And I felt like for example, I keep bringing this up, but like Kirkland's signature had like fucking like 4-minute scene just about. And it was like, okay, I want to like limit it so it's more like we were talking about how Shrek Retold inspired
Yeah.
RB Retold, which is obviously true. We borrowed the name convention from it. And the thing I really liked about Shrek Retold was that it would be pretty quick. There were sometimes like extended segments that were like redone. Like I think Mark M, Sick Animation on YouTube, he did like a segment and he like did like a whole original song, and it was like 2 minutes, and it was like good quality stuff. But the thing for me with cutting up the timestamps was just like I want to make it rapid fire. Like it's not going to stay on one thing for too long, so we have more people who can get involved and more variety. For the first one's production, Derelict already had the scenes divided up in the timestamps. I don't know if you had any contributors already when I got on, but I feel like, if I remember correctly, I did most of the work in terms of like getting people on board, because that's kind of what I would do for oneself anyway. So I was pretty good at going like, okay, guys, I think you mix some good stuff. How about you get on this project that we're doing? And yeah, so we have a spreadsheet set up, and I can, I don't know if Derelict shared it with you, but I can put a screenshot of like what I'm looking at from it right now, and it's
Yeah.
like it's a complete clusterfuck.
Yeah, nah, dog.
This isn't even all of it. Like if I scroll down, there's like a bunch of like, I think, point of reference for the credits that Derelict put down. I think if you scroll lower on this page, but that's how the spreadsheet looks. And yeah, we just collected people from that, and I would keep in touch with them, and that's pretty much how we organized it. The biggest lesson I learned from the first Retold is like, we're gonna have 2 deadlines. We're gonna have the deadline I'm gonna tell people is the deadline, and then we're gonna have another deadline a month later for all the people who are late or aren't on time for the original deadline.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was a good move because we did have like, I don't know, like on the second Retold, I think there was like 3 or 4 people who needed that extension, and
Yeah.
for the first one, it was just like I'm surprised we got it made. Honestly, Derelict and I put so much work into that first one. Derelict more so, but like I said, I did a lot of editing for the first one too.
Yeah, man. Okay, I got the screenshot up on the stream right now, assuming that's all right. I didn't see any. I didn't see any
Yeah, go
personal
ahead.
info.
I don't think anyone's docs is in there or something.
Shit, I'd hope not. But
But yeah, that's how it looked.
this actually looks pretty complete. I kind of remember seeing the what the fuck was it? The was it is it
Compare that
columns?
to Retold 2.
Yeah,
You can see how
compared to
much cleaner
results.
it is.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, okay, I mean, because I took a class in Microsoft Excel like a couple of months ago, so I'm trying to. Okay, columns A, B, C, D, E, and F. I think you
Yeah.
guys posted those publicly. You didn't post the other stuff, so you got the legend there, with the color coding submitted, awaiting reshoot, replace, and
Yeah.
yeah,
And we have like
Anyone
some
who,
deadline extensions. If you see the May
yeah,
8th, 15th,
anyone
11th.
who would have been in the Retold servers would have seen like truncated versions of these. Like we would
yeah,
have maybe cropped out all the left cells and stuff and just shown who's doing what. And then we would have like internal stuff that only people working behind the scenes would see then.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you're looking at here. We also have another page here that has like participants' contact info. Like nothing like weird, but just like
like
this is their email, this is their Discord name if we need to
yeah.
get in touch.
Yeah, you guys did not get my fucking phone number.
No.
But yeah, okay, and Derelict, if it's all right, if I could show like a similar sort of Excel spreadsheet from Hard Justice. It's like the last one
Oh
you
yeah,
sent.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, I got you. And so this is what I'm used to seeing. Hold on, let me get this source up on the screen.
Put in the chat too because there's a little bit of a delay for me with
Oh,
the
got you.
stream. No worries.
Okay, I got you. And blow that up, and then I will. Yeah, so that's what we were. That's what us contributors saw, and oh man, I wasn't really active in
Thank you.
the server, whether it was for Retold or the normal server or whatever. Wasn't really active, so I didn't really talk to anybody else doing the scenes. I think I might have messaged Epsilon once, I think. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, other than that, we did not talk to each other. Although I was a big fan of everything that everyone did on the retolds, for the most part, and
Really? Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
for the most part, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna wasn't the biggest fan of the stuff praising Die Fuhrer, but
Yeah.
no, like
Fair enough.
but yeah, no, dog, especially on like Hard Justice, like Society and Celtic Corn scenes, I really like. So it was all like everyone did great shit, but yeah, no, I don't know if it was different for other contributors, but I did not really talk to anybody because I'm really fucking shy.
Yeah, I'm pretty reserved too, which is surprising because I did a lot of the people work for both the retolds I worked on.
And
Yeah,
that's
But
tough. That's
someone
another
has to do
challenge,
it.
right? Because not only like when you're running it, like obviously I wanted people to feel like they had a platform to develop their skills, but obviously we wanted people to network as well and get people collaborating, hopefully upon their own accord. Like I know that Maro started collaborating with people like Know You Man or whatever, and that was good. But the one of the challenges that I'm sure Blizz faced as well is that you're approaching people to do scenes and stuff, and sometimes you have to be a bit of a hard ass because you'll
Yeah.
have people that will be late, and like people are late for so many reasons. Sometimes something will come up that they don't have any control over.
Yeah.
Sometimes they might just lose their internet. Some people will kind of get an inch and take a mile and kind of fuck around with deadlines. And we had some people that were just lazy. We had some people that were just unorganized, and then we had some people who would legitimately fuck around with dates in like the hopes of actually messing up the project for everybody.
yo,
Yeah.
And we were pretty swift about letting those people know where they stood and how like it's not to be like shitty, but like anybody could be replaced at any stage, and that would
yeah,
go for myself. I've replaced people. I've replaced myself on one or two retolds as well.
yeah,
Yeah. It's just how it happens sometimes. I don't have any especially negative memories of like managing anyone. Honestly, the things that come to my mind the most of it is just like the biggest problem with dealing with people was like, yeah, one, the deadlines, which is why we did the deadlines a little differently in Retold too, like I described earlier. And the other thing was just like um it's also difficult to talk to people about it because they're doing some kind of work for you for free in a sense, and it's
Yeah.
difficult to be pushy when, especially when like a deadline's coming up. And I think I was always pretty good with like managing people. Um, they're like those. I have a lot of patience for most things, but if we have people that are doing like directly malicious things, I'm just like I'm almost always we're on the same page with that shit, and we don't let it proceed. But yeah, a lot of unsavory types in that server, and
Yeah.
a lot of people who are just like, they'll burn down the fucking house if it gets a little laugh out of anyone, you know. So,
Yeah. No,
um,
And
I understand.
I'm like obviously I can't be silly and say that I haven't let people with unsavory stuff through the door, and obviously I've let unsavory stuff into the retolds as well. But the biggest thing for me is that people not ruining the project for everybody, because
yeah,
if you get something snowballing or rolling, it could like jeopardize everybody's contribution, and that's like such a big thing. I don't
yeah,
want, because you could even keep people scared, your how I say this, scared off contributing further. Or some people, like anyone who's new to content creation, could easily get the wrong impression and think, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, and you would never want them to kind of get that idea. So we wanted to encourage the small people. All the big people, again, like someone like Aegis Mind, who has been making content forever and has a decent following, doesn't really need to be motivated. He's pretty much on his own steam. But like you could very easily have people trying to, how do I say this? Not hijack the project, but backseat moderate it, and then have people
yeah,
like wondering what the fuck is going on. And that's the kind of stuff that we, as time went by, people needed less and less to be peppered about their deadlines. I think as the retools went further on, people were better about deadlines, but it was people being motivated, staying motivated, and I guess like taking out any other, what other sources, not other sources, but what other people were saying, because we had some people that would come in with scenes, and oh, I can't remember who it was. It was on one of the later RB retolds. Someone who had basically thrown out the baby with the bathwater or whatever, and they had just like completely done their own scene. And I told them like, this is not what we do with the retolds. Like if you watch the other ones, everyone is using the original scene as a reference,
yeah.
and these people would like, they would be like, okay, but I'm after working hard on this scene. I said, well, you didn't really work that hard. You recorded yourself fucking around for a minute, you know.
You see, that's
Uh,
that's the difference between how Derelict and I would maybe handle something like that. Because Derelict would just go like, "Well, I don't
Yeah.
think you actually did work hard," and I'd probably be maybe a tad more diplomatic.
well, if there's an example, I think it's in the credits for, I think, season 2 part 1 or season 2 part 2. But I can't remember their name, so I don't have to worry about it. They basically were given a scene to do, and what they recorded instead was a scene of Master Chief taking a shit on the toilet. Um,
That's actually, I didn't know about that. That's really funny,
Wait,
actually. It's fucking annoying, but
this isn't in the video, right?
it made it into like one of the credits. I have to look
I
now.
don't
It's the one.
remember that.
It's maybe the credits for season 2 part 2. Uh,
That's the only thing you got, just like that video of him shit.
I cut it to shit because I was so mad at it, because he was one of the last people to submit.
I'm sorry, but that's still
Damn.
really funny to
It is.
hear.
that's 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 another level. I'll put it like that. That's another level.
Yeah,
Okay,
and I was like,
that's
they
beautiful.
were mad that I had asked them to go back and do the scene again, and I don't remember if they actually did the scene or not. But I was saying like, dude, like you understand, like we're kind of up against it, and there comes a certain point. I think Blizz will remember when it
Mhm.
came to Retold, we would never ever take submissions less than a month out from our like due
Oh my
date,
god.
because it puts us in such a red zone. And if you you stick to your deadline, never mind everybody's individual deadlines, but the deadline for the actual video, because that means you
Yeah.
have like in the cases of the first 2 or 3 retolds, that's like at least 30 people, 20 or 30 people with their eyes focused on one date. And if you start moving around that date, you'll lose people.
Yeah.
And I don't care about views. I really don't care about views, but I care about not letting people down. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
having one guy who really has no obligation to these other 30 people fuck around your date super bothered me. And
Yeah, that's fair, obviously.
yeah, I could be more diplomatic about it, but I have no like shame in telling people like if you're going to mess it around for everybody else, I have no problem like throwing out. We actually had a role in the original because I think we deleted the first retold server, but we had a
Mhm.
role for people who were like assigned a role and hadn't done it yet. We had a role for people who assigned a role and had completed it. We had a role for people who were late, and then we had a role for people who like opted out or like dipped out of it. And I think we had like that was like the bitch role or something. We called it like the
Yeah, I
bitch
remember
role.
that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
God.
I believe it though. That sounds like something that would happen.
And
Yeah, but this kind of goes with what I was saying earlier. On the second retold, that's why we had like the public deadline and then the actual deadline.
yeah, exactly.
And the
Yeah.
actual- yeah. Okay. Well. I'll say this. Um, I think when you're doing any retold project, you gotta have a certain amount of sensitivity and discretion, because, like, I mean, these are people doing
Hmm.
the work for free, right? Okay, so you can't,
Yeah,
like you
that's
said,
like
you
I
don't
was
want to be too
saying.
pushy. But here's the thing. Here's the thing with the RB in chief community. At least this is what I've noticed. It's that, you got the unsavory sorts, but I feel like everybody has at least a couple of stones on them. You know what I mean? They can take a little bit of criticism.
Yeah.
So if they send you a video of like Master Chief shitting on a toilet, then if Derelict gives a if he gives an appropriate response, then I'm sure whoever decided to turn that in with a
That
straight
might
face
be
is
my
gonna take him.
favorite like production fun fact.
That's,
I
that's
didn't know this story.
I did
That's
I did
really funny.
I did
I'm
not
sorry,
know this,
Derek.
and I'm gonna be thinking about that all day. But see, here's
Same.
my thing. Here's my thing. That was the advantage you guys had. You guys were dealing with a community that there were issues, but I feel like everybody had
Yeah.
everybody had thick skin, so they could take some criticism. With a lot of other retold projects, from what I've noticed, okay, and I haven't been involved because I have no respect for these other like retold projects because they use like the original audio and then
Mhm.
complain when Disney takes down the video. Well, I mean, whatever company, it's not necessarily Disney, to be clear, but
Yeah.
yeah, but they get like these contributors, and the scenes are really fucking bad. They look like they were done by like art school dropouts, but
Damn.
you can't really say anything because those communities are more sensitive than like the RB community. You know what I mean? So you guys
Yeah.
had a bit of a curse, but also a bit of a gift.
I like the bad scenes though. Like I really like the scenes that like have really primitive animation and stuff because you cast a broad net and like a spectrum of people. Like if you look like if Power Gaming you was watching this, like his scenes look really rough. But
Yeah.
it casts like it's part of the wide net that we cast because you'll have like some scenes, I guess Aegis Mind, he doesn't do like an insane amount of color grading or like, he doesn't use like shoulder rigs or gimbals or anything, but he does make his scenes pretty cinematic and he travels like he went I think when he did that long scene where he like swims across the lake and stuff, he had like driven across Ohio State just to like shoot that scene. And
What? Are you fucking serious?
yeah, did you? Yeah, he had done a ton of work. He got an abandoned, not abandoned, but an empty arcade for that and everything, and he ran across the roof. Like he put in tons of work for that. And you have some people who it's not that they're lazy, but they don't have the same gauge for that amount of work. So that could be in Power's mind, he could be exerting the same amount of effort relative to him. And I like that because it just shows where people's different. And keep in mind, Power is younger than all of us. Like he turned 18, I think, last August or something. And
Damn.
he's using a camera that's probably from 2005. So the camera is fucking older than him. Like it'd be like if I was shooting on Super 8 or something. Um, and when you hear the camera, you can literally hear the motors in it spinning as it's recording.
Dude.
So for anyone who's like kind of a nostalgia head and likes connecting back to the old times of RB the Chief, it's probably one of the most relevant scenes in there because it reminds me of like how in the early days of YouTube, before people were into like green screening everything or kerning or like using like keyframes and stuff, most people just would just like put their camera down and just stand in front of a camera and talk about their favorite movie. And you still have people like that on YouTube,
Yeah.
but he's such a young guy to be referencing such an older time in YouTube, and that's one of the things I like. I meant to say this earlier about my first scene in Retold, when Arbiter or Chief is showing the game cover to Arbiter. I shot it on high 8 tapes, like they're not VHS tapes, but they're old style videotapes, and they shoot in 4:3, and they have this grainy look to them. And when I was cutting it together, they were upscaled a little bit, and I put them back down to like 480, 280p. And I said, this doesn't look grainy or shitty enough. I need to make it look worse. So what I did is I recreated the unregistered Hypercam 2 watermark that you would have. And the reason I did that is because, and this is going to be like a super hard throwback, but there was a period during RB the Chief when John stopped uploading between seasons, and people thought that John was dead because he died in a car crash.
Whoa!
This is true.
Wait, did people really believe that?
Yeah. I remember believing it myself. And,
Crazy admission.
and
Oh
the thing
my
is, right,
God.
there were people who tried, because John was so popular, like RB the Chief was one of like the first fucking viral videos on YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
People tried to take John's place. The Joyride figures were pretty hard to get a hold of. Like, we didn't have, eBay was nowhere near as good as it is now. People would get like how you say this, shitty replacement. They get like a fucking Boba Fett figure. They'd get a Power Ranger figure. And there was one guy, and his videos are no longer on YouTube, I think. He would get like a Buzz Lightyear figure, and he would upload like every fucking day of the week. And I was and they were always on the unregistered Hypercam too. And I think when John's setup was really robust back in the day, because he would use the sound card on the computer to capture the audio from Microsoft Sam and Mike. I wanted mine to sound like the Buzz Lightyear one, so all the audio for my first RB Retold scene is sound from the camera recording it from the speaker of the computer, as opposed to like ripping. I had to go all out. It had to be as terrible as possible. So that's a shout out. I didn't have any Buzz Lightyear figures, but I did track down the Flick figure for Endgame, so I'm proud of that.
Wow. Yeah.
That,
Beautiful.
That is a fucking trip. Okay. The unregistered Hypercam 2 shit. Oh my god, dog. I forgot all about that. Cause back in the okay, this is a tangent, but back in the day when I was like really into the Minecraft shit, there was a dude named JRH or whatever, and he made this series called like was it The Hunt for Hero Brian or whatever? It was
I heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, dude, and this dude, he had a Fraps FPS counter at the top left of his screen, and I think he had the unregistered Hypercam 2 thing. And his audio was so bad that you could hear like a clicking noise, like in the background. And the other guy's audio was so fucking bad too, because he was talking through like a laptop microphone. But the video has like a couple million views at this point.
Damn.
But I loved it. I loved it back then, man. It was. I could look past the jank. My mom, she caught me watching that. She was like, "You can actually watch this shit. Do you not hear that noise in the background?" And I'm like, "You just don't get it, Mom. Okay? You just don't get it. It's Minecraft.
I'll
It's
say
a
this:
nice bark."
when John first started giving out about Machinima back in 2018, like, because Machinima took all of his videos off.
Yeah.
I had like the biggest archive of John's videos, and the only reason I had an archive of John's videos is because my family didn't get Wi-Fi until like 2014, and before that, I would have to go to an internet cafe to like watch internet videos, and then my dad would have like this USB dongle that I would get once a week to plug into my computer for internet, and it was so slow that what I would do is I would just download all the new videos that came out that week onto my computer,
That's
and then
crazy.
I would marathon them during the week until the weekend came around again. And that's the only reason I have, like, it's not just John's videos. I have like tons of archive stuff that like has gone off of YouTube that I haven't. Some of it I have re-uploaded to my channel, but some of it I haven't. And that's the only reason I have all that shit is because I didn't have proper internet until like 2014.
That is
That's
crazy.
nuts.
That's
Jeez.
Yeah,
serendipity
right.
right there. That is holy shit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, if you have an archive that big, it's not usually because you ever think it's all gonna go away. Because I'm sure they're like when you were downloading all that, you never had the thought that Machinima would get bought out by Warner Bros. And then it would just evaporate into nothingness over the course of like a week. You know?
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and just to go touch on that unregistered hypercam 2 thing, I tried to like with each of my retold scenes, I tried to like do a different medium or completely change the way it looks.
Yeah.
And I might as well say it here because I haven't said it before, but I never liked the idea of doing more than one scene on a retold. I was saying this to Blizz earlier, but I like the idea of I love doing scenes are cool. I like doing scenes were fun, but I never liked the idea of having to do a scene because if I could control it, I would rather have someone do a scene instead of me rather than me doing 2 or 1. Like I'd rather have I would rather have someone doing like a single scene each with no repeats rather than me having to do a scene. And
Yeah.
there were a few instances in I think 2 and 3 where I did 2 scenes and I did them under different names. And there's a scene that I did. Oh, I can't remember which one it is. Is it an Endgame? I think it's in season 1 or 2, where I did the first ever GoldenEye 64 machinima, and I had to do it under like a pen name, so I didn't get in trouble for like doing multiple scenes. But I always tried to put like Easter eggs or stuff in my scenes. Like you, obviously, with the first one was like the graphic stuff on the box art of the game. But then there was the unregistered Hypercam 2 stuff. If you look at my scene in RB Retold 2, there's actually what's his name? The arbiter figure is looking at like Rule 34 fan art that I commissioned of oneself to fuck with Flick.
I remember
Oh my
that.
god, I
remember
forgot
that.
about that. I just
I remember that scene. I remember that specifically. I was like, wait, what the fuck are they looking up? Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I remember when I first saw that in the upload, I was like, how the fuck is this not getting taken down?
And John, surprisingly enough, when he did his reaction, that was the first thing he noticed as well. And
Yeah.
I even put in like a little book of the bug's life on the left-hand side as well.
Jesus.
beautiful.
Yeah, look, you gotta populate the frame, as they say.
Populate the frame with semen.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Hey guys,
Okay.
I'm more than ready to continue, but I need to take a quick piss, okay?
Okay, there we go.
Okay, take your
I'll be
piss.
back in like 2 minutes, okay?
All right, okay. Was there any kind of retold scenes that stood out? Well, I guess out of all of your retolds, I guess you like your Hard Justice one the most.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of other people's scenes, were there any that stood out to you?
Mootroids. And see, I don't remember a lot of them, so I'm naming specific people. It's not because I like them any more or less than the other contributors, just because these are just ones I remember. And Celtic, he did one for Hard Justice, retold that was really interesting to me.
Oh, that's a point-and-click adventure.
Yes, okay, because I watch his he does the 9 a.m. like animations on his channel. I watch that from time to time.
Yeah.
And it was really just interesting to see him do a different style because I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know he moved like that. And he did other scenes for the other retools. I just didn't notice because I didn't really start watching his shit until now. But I really like that one. And oh god, I think all the Bionicle scenes. I forget who did those or if it was the same guy, but there was one in Hard Justice Retold, and there was another in the second one that I thought was interesting.
Marrow did a lot of Bionicle scenes. He didn't do all of them, but he was the one who did the most consistent Bionicle scenes. And the funny
Yeah.
thing about Marrow is that he almost didn't do Hard Justice Retold because for some reason he thought in his head that I had told him, "Oh, you can't do a Bionicle scene unless they're stop motion." And I literally never said that to him.
What the
said, "No."
fuck? Sorry, come back.
Well, what I was saying was like because like Hard Justice Retold is only the first episode, and I think there's only 5 or 6 scenes in it. And I said, like, that's not a lot of scenes. And since this is probably the last Retold we ever do, I want each scene to be in a different style. I don't want any repeats. Like, I don't want to have 2 toy scenes back to back. I want to have like one scene that's toys, a scene that's live action, a scene that's like 3D animation, a scene that's 2D animation, and a scene that's machinima. And because there were 6 scenes, I figured, well, we can't get a sixth person. I'll do the last scene and I'll just do all 5 styles together. And and I said to Maro, like, you have to, because Maro did a scene in, I think, almost all the previous retolds, and I think in season 2 part 1 and season 2 part 2, he had done these kind of, you know what I mean when I say this now, Blizz, but like kind of tangent stuff where he goes off script and then he just starts peppering the scene with in jokes, and it's like it's stuff that I really really don't like in the retolds because it confuses
Yeah,
people and distracts them. And he
I
did it
agree.
twice in a row, and I said, like, Maro, like, if you do this again, I don't want you doing like tangent stuff. He says, okay, don't worry, I won't change anything about the scene. I was saying, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
Oh my
don't
god.
don't start throwing like stuff that only you think is funny in there. It'll be more funny to people if you like, if you get a joke and twist it a little bit, that's funny. But don't like insist upon stuff that's in your head and that's funny. And he said, okay, it's fine, I won't do any scene at all because you said I have to do stop motion. I said, no one told you said you had to do stop motion. What I'm saying is
Damn.
stop forcing your shit in there. Like, I do in jokes in my stuff as well. Like, I'm pretty sure in my first retold scene, when Arbiter opens the case, there's a chocolate chip cookie there, but there's also like a poster for Civil Discord, but it's totally non-invasive.
Yeah.
Like, it's barely noticeable. Um, Maro would like force shit in there, and keep in mind, Aegis Mind, he puts a bunch of in jokes into his as well, but man, does that guy like know how to like expand on a scene and contain it, you know?
Yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah. No, you're right. That
Also,
was that was something I had to keep in mind when doing my sort of retolls. I think the only uh explicit like Easter eggs, or I guess references I should say, I put in mine was like I tried putting the Voyager Arts logo in the first retold, but it was so fucking small that it looks like a red dot on the screen. And it was in retold 3, if I'm not mistaken. I just got a Silk Sonic CD, and I really wanted to show off the fact that I got a Silk Sonic CD, so I had to like prop it up against my monitor. Which I guess karma's come back to get me now for including that dumbass Easter egg, quote unquote, because the CD doesn't even work anymore.
Oh
But
damn.
yeah, it's tough. But yeah, man. I guess on to the next question. We're almost done with the list.
all good.
I guess you guys have already answered this, but did you guys have any difficulties with getting segments in on time on Retold 1? Or, I mean, if you had any difficulties getting the segments, was it on the level that you expected? Because the guidelines got a lot more strict after Retold 1.
Uh, well, there's that story of Kirkland's signature sending in raw
Raw
footage.
footage, yeah.
That's one thing.
I need to rewatch this, dog.
Yeah. Nothing's really jumping out at me. Anything in your head, Derelict?
Like chronic lateness
Um,
or whatever.
no, well, because the thing is, when we were doing the first retold, we had no idea what we were doing, and a lot of the first retold was like setting the bar, so to speak. Where like the first retold obviously informed how we did all the retolds after that, and some people would say, like, you know, if you're doing a series of things, I don't know, like a TV series or a show or a review series, you develop your style as you go on. I really feel like the in terms of like the formatting and all that, a lot of that was ironed out by the second retold. I feel like by the time Beam and Blizz did the second one, they already had a formula that just didn't need to be changed going onwards, you know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
There's a lot of trial and error with the first retold, for better or for worse. And pretty much all the problems you would expect to happen from like a production like that kind of came up. Like, how are
Something
we
came to
gonna?
mind.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Um, some something that came to mind just now is that I
Yeah.
think with the first retold, we were planning on doing all of season one, and we had put out a call for participants. I believe in January. I could be wrong, and it had become evident. Like, we were putting names to scenes and stuff, and it became clear that we didn't necessarily have enough people to do the whole season. And the first 3 episodes was good for a proof of concept to send off to John and stuff. It became very clear to me that we didn't have enough people, and in some ways we kind of overshot, not overshot, undershot or something. We kind of we correctly overestimated the amount of work that would be needed because we gave 6 months to get this done, and I want to say by March or April we probably had like all the scenes ready, and we could have been ready to go by the end of April or something. I feel like we could have, and because we had the scope of the work was actually smaller than the time we had, we could have premiered it earlier. But first of all, John's birthday is in May, so it's just on the cusp of 6 months into the year. We had hedged our bets really fucking well, and even though we didn't entirely know what we were doing, we had left so much time. Like we gave people like pretty generous deadlines that even if
Yeah.
things start to snowball if the house of cards started to topple a little bit, we were still okay. And I think what that was is even though me and Blizz didn't entirely know what we were doing, we set ourselves up in a way where we were able to make mistakes and not pay too dearly for them. And that was a really
Yeah.
nice thing to have on the first one
Hmm.
because after the first one, we were able to go, okay, this is how this works. This is how we do this thing. And first, like by the time the first retold was done, Blizz knew what the drill was because he had done a lot
Yeah.
of the admin, and and it was good for Beam because Beam had never done any of that before, and Blizz was able to like ease him into that. So it was a really smooth transition, I think, for everybody there in terms of like passing the
Yeah.
torch.
The second one was a much smoother production, and I can't really think of any major issues that happened aside from like 2 people who couldn't participate towards the end. Um, but yeah, it was really nice figuring out all the problems from the production of the first one. And yeah, I know Derelict's continued to make retolds since I stopped working on them, and I think he's applied basically everything we've learned and what I've told him about from the experience of making the second one. So good stuff.
I I'd like to like I'd almost like to live in a world where we could almost include the participants in more in the creative process. But I think we tried that on like between maybe Endgame or the movie Retold, and it just didn't seem to work because I always hated the idea of telling people your scene has to be this and your scene has to be this, but it seemed like a lot of people there was no shortage of creativity on the retold, but it seemed like a lot of people weren't able to adjust to a brief and how it worked. And I don't think less of anybody for that because John. We even talk about John. John is someone who like struggled with the like not budgetary constraints, but like creative constraints, where Machinima was saying like you can't use swears, you have to upload like every week and stuff. Like it's hard it's hard stuff to do, but I feel like once you acclimate to the workflow of that kind of stuff, you might actually make better stuff. And it's the
Yeah.
people, like, keep in mind, I joked about Power Gaming You making really rough scenes and stuff. Power has always submitted on time and he's always maintained like a level of quality. And whether that's high quality or low quality, that's up for you to decide. But the thing is, he's never like come up short than when he does before. And I would sooner have inconsistent people than unreliable people, like any day.
Yeah. No, man. I 100% agree. Um, and I think a big a big part of it in terms of like I guess your management and producing styles, it helps that you're not like too wishy washy. It's like because listen, you got some folks out there that say, oh well, yeah, I think doing a retold project would be a good idea, and then they don't really do what it takes to make sure it all came together. And I mean, I know it was difficult for you guys for sure, but I mean, you guys pulled through and did it because I mean, in the end, you just gotta lock in.
Yeah.
I
That's
won't.
all you gotta do.
I won't lie. Like I said before, when the process comes to editing, the most you have to do, unless you're doing your own scene as well, is you're just stapling all the scenes together in order, and you have to do the credits. And for a lot of times, if you're just editing the project after collecting on them, that's like the most work you have to do.
Yeah,
Um, but there's like I don't know how to say it, but it gets difficult because you have to ask yourself like, is there even like a point in doing it sometimes? Because a lot of it is like threading old ground, and you have to find a way of delivering content that's already done in a new way. And you said yourself, like a lot of the people use the original audio from stuff, and they get their asses clapped by Disney and stuff, and that would never happen with RB the Chief. But I think me and Blizz, or at least Beam, had this conversation where it was, are we going to use copyrighted music or not? And I think that was a very active discussion because
Yeah.
John had a problem with that when he was re-uploading the original episodes. Do I use original music or not? And I think it was in Meow Meow's scenes where he found the perfect middle ground, which is recreate the songs, and it doesn't matter how good they are. Like he recreated "Around the World" by Daft Punk and
Oh
had
yeah, I
someone do it
remember
a
that.
Yes.
cappella, and it was brilliant.
On Retold 2, we tried to like lay out all the music tracks that were like in the in the original episodes, and we decided to like try to divide it in a way where like we would have some people do covers, and like we would just ask people for permission on YouTube if like there was a, I think Hero on the second one had like a specific song called "Your Cum Won't Last," and I
Yeah.
think we got. I think I actually Twitter DM'd the guy who made that song, and I was like, "Hey, can we have permission to use this for our project?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, no problem."
I remember the
Um,
song. Secret
yeah,
stash. I'm going to fuck your dad.
yeah. Mother of lies, come in disguise, or something like that. But yeah,
Oh
on
my.
Retold 2, we tried to divide the scenes actually, because like something that worked out really well in the first one, on the scene I made, which is the last scene in episode 2, I think. We had Jazz, who's a talented musician, do a cover of like, what's the name of that song? I can be brown, I can be red, I can
Oh,
be
Mika,
violet sky.
Grace
Mika,
Oh
yeah,
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 Kelly.
yeah.
Grace Kelly. Yeah.
He did like a great cover of that, and it like fit so well
Okay, I have
over
not
the
heard that,
episode.
dog, and I love that song.
I don't know
I
if we
need to
have the
listen to
original
that.
track anywhere, but Jazz did a very nice cover
Oh
I think I
of
fuck.
it.
have I think I have all the retolds I worked on, like the
Should,
project
we should
files and
make, you
stuff
should
back then.
release like an album, the Retold
Yeah.
album,
Well,
with
like
all that
I have to
original
shout out
music.
I have to shout out Vane for composing an entire song from scratch for RB Retold Endgame, I think. He did a
Yeah.
song called like No Sympathy for the Chief, and the lyrics are just fucking insane, where it's like TJG, where's part 17? I have given everything for RB and the Chief. And it didn't dawn until people were listening to it, like, wait, is this an entirely original song for the fucking thing? It's like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did
Real.
a instrumental cover of the RB theme song for Retold 2, I think, if I'm
Yeah.
recalling correctly.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And like Power, consistent every single time he delivered, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know that much work went into the music. I thought it was mostly copyrighted like tracks, which I mean
Yeah,
What,
whatever,
it
yeah.
but
was
yeah,
it was a
There was
mix.
there were a
I
couple.
think on the first retold there was an 8-bit cover of the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme that I really wanted to use. And the guys who had produced it on the YouTube were like, "Oh yeah, cool. Here's our licensing fee," and it was like $250 for like per use. And I was like,
Yo.
fuck off." Honestly,
Fuck that. I think
yeah.
we had Jazz do a cover of the Curb theme
Oh, he did
on Retold
at the
2.
end of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Damn. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
that was a really cool thing. Like there were some like little pitfalls like that where like it opened up more avenues of like creativity, which was really cool.
Yeah, no,
Um
seriously, man. And again, I gotta commend you guys for I I guess you guys required that original audio was produced because I really can't stand when the original audio is used just because it just feels lazy to me. It's like you went through the
yeah,
effort of
it's
replacing the
another
video.
creative thing
But
you could potentially do something with, and it seems like a missed
yeah.
opportunity if
And
you
I
don't at
mean,
least try.
yeah, but I mean, my thing is if you take the original audio like as it is and you don't go through the effort of recreating it yourself, to me that that feels like theft, you know? That's what it feels like. It's like with a phone book. It's like with a phone book, legally you're supposed to go to the effort of finding the phone numbers yourself and doing the research. But if you just take it from like whatever AT&T's phone book, you get in trouble because it's copyright infringement. So it's the same result, but it's about the effort that you put in to get there. Although I think that's mainly thing Canadian law, not U.S. law.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but I mean that's the way I see it morally. Like it's about the effort. Even if it's the exact same, it's like if you're gonna remake like Phineas and Ferb or whatever, if you're using the original audio, then like I gotta wonder, like
If we
what brain wave are you operating on?
Plus, if we had used the original audio, we would never have an avenue to use Vane's music or anything like that.
Oh
And
yeah,
you have a lot of creators whose like there's some animators now whose own like I think when you were giving in your scene for Hard Justice Retold, you had done like dialogue and stuff. But like a lot there wasn't too much like sound effects or foley in your scene.
I forgot.
And that's fine. But like like if someone like some people wanted to like hard code in audio into their scenes, and I was trying to say, if you want to, you can, but try to separate the audio and stuff because we have to like crossfade between scenes and like mix audio
Yeah,
levels. But also, I wanted to leave enough room for anyone who was maybe more audibly inclined than like
yeah,
someone who has more experience. Because like there's really talented Halo fan called Alex G who does music,
Mm.
and they've done uh music on a ton of Halo fan games and stuff. And I've been a fan of theirs for a while. And I said, like, listen, I'd love to have your stuff on Retold. And they were like, oh yeah, absolutely. And in out of good like out of the goodness of my heart, I was like, by the way, just so you know, it's of RB the Chief. Like, oh, I love RB Chief. I said, just so you know, there's offensive stuff going on through it. And they said, don't care, because their content is quite savory, and I don't like the idea of like dragging somebody down, with me or anybody else. So they were totally cool with it, and it was a cool thing. And like even with Kiro only started doing like animations. Well, I guess Kiro always did kind of NSFW animations, but
Whoa.
Kiro did
yeah,
the first thumbnail, and Blizz's friend did the second thumbnail. If we had
yes,
someone who was good at graphic design, but maybe not so much with animation, they could easily do a thumbnail or something. I don't want anyone to feel like they would be working in a medium that they couldn't contribute in, because some people like I don't some people gatekeep and say you can't fucking work in Retold. Well, I wouldn't encourage that, but the worst thing is when people tell themselves that they can't contribute, and that's what I'd spend like 2 nights convincing Maro, no, you can do this Retold. Stop telling yourself you can't do it. You know,
yeah,
um, yeah, that's just one thing that I try to stay on top of as well.
Yeah, you gotta be like a coach.
It's tough. That's
Yeah,
super tough to
you
do.
gotta wear a ton of hats.
oh yeah, definitely.
Oh man. All right then. Well, okay. Last question. Question number 9.
Hmm.
4 years after Retold one, what would you guys have done differently?
Everything.
Everything. Well, yeah. Cause you started in
Well,
the
I
early
don't think I
2020.
don't think it's like a loss. I don't want to sound like I hate it or anything like that, but there was a lot of lessons we learned in it, and I wish I had the hindsight I had while working on Retold too. Um, I wish we had more contributors, but um, we kind of had to make this one in order to get people to get what we were going
Oh
for the
yeah.
later ones. So I guess it was like a necessary thing. Um, there are probably some unsavory people that I wish I didn't give a stage to. Uh,
Ugh.
but
Yeah.
in general, live and learn. But yeah, if we're talking about the first retold, there's a lot of things I would do differently. And it's mostly just like who do we have involved, how and lessons that we apply to the later ones. But hindsight is 2020.
Oh fuck.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you also could have warned us about COVID, but I mean, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's true.
yeah.
That's true. But
The other
our
stuff's
being the
gone.
chief retold is clearly more important than
Oh
that.
yeah. Yeah. No, obviously. I mean,
I don't
it.
know what Derelict thinks, but
Um, I probably wouldn't. I don't know what I would have done differently, because when I think about when I think I missed John's reaction to the first one live, and I had to catch it on a VOD or a re-upload.
I have
But
a VOD of it on my YouTube, privated, if you want to see that sometime.
I have it too. But I'm just saying, like,
Oh, okay.
I had to watch that VOD to, because this is before he made his VODs private. I
Oh
had
shit.
to watch that, and I think I watched it in, no, it was Ab 3 that I watched in bed. But I remember watching the reaction to Retold with my partner at the time. And again, that feeling, we all used to shit on reaction channels, even John did back in the day, but having people
Yeah.
respond to your content or projects that you manage in such a positive way is like, it's like sheer ecstasy. And I don't know if I would have changed anything if it would have meant not getting that moment, because at that time, even all the unsavory people were on better behavior then. And even while, like, we didn't all see eye to eye, we were all on board for pushing towards the same thing. And there was probably a message in that that I wish more people took away with them, because there were people who, like, didn't agree on politics or like sports or fucking music or movies and stuff, but we all agreed, yeah, this would be a cool thing to do for John. And for a brief moment, we were all on the same team. We were all on the same page of it, and you could see people. It's funny, if you still have access to that, not the uploaded the VOD, but I don't know if John made it private or if it's unlisted, but there are people who were in no uncertain terms like bad people in the community who were happy for John at that moment, who were in the chat saying like "let's go" and stuff. And I would probably not change anything if it would have meant not getting that moment, you know?
For real,
Yeah.
man. I think I was there. I can't fucking remember. I might have. I really cannot fucking remember. But yeah, no, I remember the energy was definitely there. So it was a lot of fun to see how everybody reacted to it, because that was the first
Yeah.
time I was involved in like a major collaborative project like that, and that summer was uh kind of depressing for me just because of all the bullshit on the news. Because I had fucking CNN on 24/7. They were talking about the bullshit going on in the U.S. around that time. So I mean, it was
Yeah.
it was it was a pick me up.
Well,
That's what I saw.
that I'm glad you said that as well, because that was the first summer, I think, after the lockdowns and stuff. And
Yeah,
in terms of giving people a creative avenue, so many people were inside for so long, where some people had, like, there's tons of content creators now that have built careers because they just started fucking around with videos during the lockdown,
yep,
because they had nothing else to do. And I really wanted to give people something to do, and it kept people busy, it kept people away from other shit. And
yeah,
we got to drink a few bevies afterwards and have fun. And I think that probably, like, obviously lockdown ending was a good thing, but when people started to go back out, they didn't need RB retolds anymore, or to be working on RB retolds. And that's totally cool. I'm glad people were able to give themselves something else, because the retolds did burn out, and that's totally fine. I'm glad that we were able to end them on a good note, I
oh
feel.
yeah, no, absolutely, man. And I think to me, it says something that the RB community had the proper leadership and the proper like I guess the leadership with the right mindset to actually create a retool. Because you wouldn't see the red versus blue community doing something like this. I
I think
mean,
they
in the way it was.
could.
I think
I
they've attempted something like this.
I think the
Yeah,
RB community is a little
maybe.
different because John really like broke down like how he made his videos and how he did stuff. He used to have this like Halo
Yes.
machinima
Yeah.
guide or whatever way back in the day. And I do think his audience tended to be people who were more actively interested in like making film than
Yeah.
as opposed to like Red versus Blue, which I think was more casual audience. I'm not so familiar with like all of Rooster Teeth's work, so I'm kind of pulling that out of my ass. But I would say
Look at me.
that uh, RB was more clearly showing like we have this live action footage. This is how I do it. John's made several videos about how he did it, and for me, when I got into film and like the reason why I like to work on projects like this was because of John showing how he did it. And I don't know if you guys know James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Cinemassacre.
yeah.
Yeah.
He has this great video called it's really outdated now, but it was called Cinemassacre 200, and I probably watched that video like 100 times. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend it, especially if you're a fan of his. He talks about like how he spent like his whole life like making home movies and showing like how he used to edit on like two VCRs back in the day. And that shit was like super like inspirational for me, like to like want to get involved in that kind of stuff. So I
Yeah.
do think you do have a point about the RB community being more inclined to do that, because I think John did like a great job, whether he realizes it or not, like of like breaking down how films work.
Yeah.
And he also did like a really nice behind the scenes episode later on for RB and the Chief, where he breaks down his writing process. And even though I was much older when that came out, it was also like, oh, that's great. I never really uh, I never tried my hand at a script at that point, and like seeing John like break down his process was like really systematic and made sense. And yeah, that's what I would say.
Just to add on to that as well, I think one of the reasons why people, I think, gravitated towards John in that way as well is because John is a one man team, right?
Yes, yes.
Rooster Teeth, before they fell apart, were employing dozens upon dozens of people. Like, even when John went out to see them in Austin, I think they had the bones of like maybe 50 or 60 people down there in that plant. John has been, for the most part, working on his own, for better or for worse. And I think when he's only started realizing that, I think, from 2019 onwards, where it's like his tale is, on one hand, it's a cautionary tale about how to interact with your fans, and then the other half of it is about, what you can build from a DIY setup. And YouTube is obviously
Yeah.
the prodigal story of that, about how you can go from zero to nothing with just a little bit of ingenuity. Because
Yeah.
John doesn't I mean, I've seen some of the editing in his new stuff is a little bit choppy, and there's a lot of, he's not using high key fucking visual effects and stuff. He's using primitive stuff, but he's done well with primitive stuff, and it more people should be inspired by that, I think. Not
Yeah.
because of, if this retard can do it, anyone can do it. But if this retard can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, yeah, no, dog, you guys are absolutely right, man. Because I remember when I first found out about like John shit and like R being the chief and started watching like One Life Remaining and all that. It was like I just started Voyager YT with my boys, and he was a big inspiration. I was like, okay, well this is a bit old school, but I think that there's something here, and so in a way I've sort of kept the kept the philosophy of I don't know, the learning from what's old to do something new, and so that's sort of inspired a lot of the stuff I've done. Just doing things more traditionally, not sort of resorting to I guess modern content trends. Because I have a friend who does that, like like those talking head commentary videos.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I have a friend I went to high school with. Well, he's more like a friend of a friend, but he does those types of videos, and he's extremely friggin' successful. Okay, and I mean that's valid, but I think that you can also find success doing it old school. So it's I don't know, I'm on a much fucking slower path than him to success because I think he's already there, but hopefully I can get there. And John sort of inspired me to do that. And I've always wanted to. Uh, I used to want to work in the film industry. I used to want to work for Rooster Teeth,
Oh,
until my testicles dropped, and then I realized, oh yeah, wait, because half of them
Well,
are like spouse abusers or whatever.
it's fine. Your balls
sheesh.
dropped, their stock dropped.
No, for real, dog. That was like, oh my god, it's really messed up what happened to them. By the way,
Yeah.
that was fucked up. They did them kind of like they did Machinima.
Yep.
It was the same. It was the same company. It's like Warner Bros, right? So I guess it was the same
Parent
people
company.
that screwed Machinima and Rooster Teeth. So it's a shame, but I
Um,
think in a way, stuff like RB Retold sort of keeps the dream alive.
it's tough for to me to square that circle, because y- machinima is such a barren, dead medium in a lot of ways. And like the
Hmm.
people who are at the top, like Halo Machinima specifically, even the people at top, like John is making bank off his Patreon, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
Uh, Red versus Blue, if they didn't end it, they could probably still punch a few episodes out and still, you know, be have people on the payroll for it. But I look around and I engage myself pretty well with the other Halo Machinima content creators. It's fucking hard, and it's hard to square a growth off of that on a medium that is quite outdated. And you see people passing you out with like, AI shorts, or like a lot of like, I don't know, drama mill content. And
Yeah.
like there's channels that have been around for half the time that I've been around and have passed me out, and it's hard to not feel not have doubts and not feel a little bit inadequate about that kind of shit. But
Yeah.
I think even if you look at the stuff at the retolds, and the retolds are easy to look at from the start rather than the end because the earlier ones have tons more views, and the comments rather, have taken so much of the content on board that's the kind of thing that gives you a personal sense of fulfillment because you realize, well, even if it doesn't get a million bajillion views,
Yeah.
at least it was able to do something for someone, I suppose. I
Yeah.
got and it something that doesn't bother me, but I don't have that same response to my more personalized videos, and that's totally fine. I think it's a because again, my personal content is still made in Halo Machinima, so it'll never entirely be my content. But I don't feel inadequate when I look at the stuff at the retools because it's stuff that made everybody feel included. We didn't really ostracize anybody. It was all about getting everybody together. So I'm allowed to feel bad about how bad the Derelict content does. I don't ever call the retools Derelict country videos. Those videos belong to anybody who works on them.
Yeah.
But when
Hmm.
it comes to like
Like Chewies.
like Chewies, yeah, Chewies are my videos. I would say the machinophobic would be a 50-50 split, except for the fact that I did literally everything on them and stuff just showed up.
Fair, fair. I know
Um,
that feeling.
but it's like if someone, let's just say that anybody, because most people after they do the retools will upload their scenes, and some people had like an embargo about that or whatever, and I said, dude, if you wanted to like copy and paste the retools from my channel, I couldn't stop you from doing it because
Yeah.
again, like they deserve to be seen, and at the end of the day, I don't care about views or monetization. I just want people to see them. That's all I want. And yeah, it's like I have the retools downloaded and backed up in 6 places. So if YouTube bites it tomorrow, I'm never letting those videos become lost media, you know?
Yeah. That is a good idea because my scenes, it's like that's probably, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm wrong, Derelict, about this, that's the highest generation you can get or the best quality generation. So I probably should back those up somewhere.
I I got a new hard drive there last year, and I basically just made a Derelict country folder, and I haven't done it yet, but every couple of months the folder has a date on it saying like Derelict country archive April 10th, 2024,
Oh.
and basically it's all the uploads up to then, and one folder has the videos, and then another folder has the thumbnails because uh making thumbnails are super fun now. I have a lot of fun making thumbnails. Your thumbnails are great, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I've had multiple people say that to me, and look, I'm really not fishing for compliments here, but my thumbnails, they're not very good. Okay, it's literally just me using like bright saturated neon colors with a border and a and a
Yeah,
font that
that's
I
what you're
found for
supposed to
free.
do.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm supposed to. But it's just kind of lame, isn't it? Because it's always the PNG tuber in the corner, and if it's not that, it's a picture of a die-cast car.
Sure, but there's
Yeah,
like
but it works.
there's rules of graphic composition, and then
Mm.
there's rules of like
YouTube thirds.
like rules of thirds and like how you optimize your thumbnails as well. Like you can't ever put text in the bottom right corner of a thumbnail because it'll get obscured almost every time.
Oh yeah,
So you
okay, yeah.
and like I've never seen you use like unflattering colors against each other. So it
Oh
seems you
yeah.
at least know how to like draw how to draw eyes things because you'll notice sometimes even if you're doom scrolling or something, your fingers will have like the urge to want to click something that looks more appealing than something that looks bad. Like if someone puts a effort into a thumbnail for because you can do thumbnails I think for TikToks or for YouTube Shorts or something,
Mm.
you're more inclined to click the one that look. It's almost like, do you know what it is? If something looks mouth watering, something you want to sort of take a bite out of, it's like if a thumbnail looks like something you want to push your finger against. And I kind of get that with a lot of your thumbnails look like buttons in terms of like how you do the framing and the shading.
Oh, okay, okay. I see what you mean. That
Yeah, there's a
that
bit of like dopamine rush thing there.
that's an interesting way of putting. I used to call it like candy coated bullshit because I used to have like I don't think I do pink the color pink in the thumbnails at this current moment, but I did like a Barbie thumbnail, and
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, it sort of looks like a candy wrapper to me. Sort of looks like that potentially. So, but
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 that's
you're
the
right.
right
It
idea.
does look like a button, like a feature of the actual was it the actual like app? You know, it's just the
I
font is
was
the only giveaway.
yeah, I was in LA back in March, and I had a friend there show me. because you'd only notice in the States more than anywhere else how like consumerism like targets its audience, like how on children's
Mhm.
cereals the
Ugh,
characters are always looking down because they're always looking down at kids on the shelves and shit, right? And
yeah.
how they compose the artwork on their boxes. And I always assumed that there was like in terms of advertising and stuff, how you like communicate to the audience you need this thing, but I'd never seen how it targeted children, even in a post-COPPA world, you know?
Yeah, no, for real, man. I hate that kind of advertising. Um, that's why it's like illegal in some countries. But yeah, it's all sorts of psychological tricks, like Mr. Beast thumbnails too. It's like that's the most obvious example of
He
like
constantly
clickbait.
changes his thumbnails too. Like
Yeah, he does
he
that
always
A/B
adjusts them.
testing shit, which I
Yeah.
started doing that, but it's kind of aggravating because like
Yep.
so if you want to go back and watch the video, you have to make sure. Oh wait, the thumbnail is different, but I feel like it's the same video because it's about the same length. So
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Then again, he's more concerned with like the the views and the metrics and shit. And I think that at a certain point, if you're really obsessed with stuff like that, if you're too obsessed, that makes me think that you have no faith in what you're actually uploading.
I think I think he can pay someone to be obsessed with that rather than
Yeah,
like I don't know if because he can offload that to somebody else because
yeah.
he should be obsessed with that because his channel is monetized. Um, I'm it's a cop out for me to say this. It's almost like a cope, but like I can not worry about that because my channel isn't monetized and if YouTube knows what they're doing and YouTube has any sense, they'll never monetize my channel. Um,
Same here. Same here. I'm fighting with them about my tax information.
Yeah. Well, not me. YouTube. I pay all my taxes. I pay all my taxes on time. Please don't investigate me.
Whoa, what's
Um.
look, I didn't need to know all that, Chief. I didn't need to know all that.
But it's like I can not worry about how I'm optimized because I can cope and tell myself, oh, I can just do all the artistic stuff for now because I don't have. I'm not going to lose my monetization because I don't have monetization yet. I'm not going to
Yeah,
dip in funds, and also because my revenue stream is like outside of YouTube, right? Like when
lucky
I'm where
man.
I do like I used to do mentoring for Halo Machinima with people. Like for a while, I did that with Flick. I did it with D27 Chigu. I did it with Morgan, and I would explain to him like how they like. I don't think Flick ever cared about this. Flick might be like selectively retarded, but he is like
Damn, man.
he
Jesus.
is he is very he has a lot of integrity and he is very much like he sticks to his principles in terms of like his artistic vision
Yeah,
and of all because there's nobody else I don't in the outside of maybe society in the machinima community who does that. Most people are like I guess like I've seen a lot of Halo machinima creators try to do like clickbait content and you can't because there's nothing stimulating about watching a Halo model fucking bob like a headless chicken. Like there's nothing um, but I talked to Morgan, and like Morgan literally doesn't care. Like I'll at least try to make a good thumbnail. Morgan won't do thumbnails. He won't optimize. He won't do full credits. It's like, and his channel has stayed at like 40 subscribers
yeah.
for like
It and,
6 years.
and Morgan is the Halo Figure Chronicles guy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh boy.
Um, yeah. There's so much to unpack there, and I could only unpack half of it on stream. With
God.
D27, D27 is like on one hand saying, "Oh, I will do the thing I want to do and not care about what others say," and then at the other time, like maybe I should do hashtags and do like Spider-Man content, and D27 is like has this whiplash of caring what YouTube likes and not caring what YouTube likes, and it fucks
Okay.
up their mental state because they're trying to tell everyone that they don't operate at the whims of everybody when they totally operate at the whims of everybody. And
God. I'm sad now.
sorry.
I'm sad now because I mean, oh fuck. I mean, I can understand that. I can understand the plight, but to me, it's not particularly difficult to appeal to the algorithm because it's so easy to find what the hot topics are. And like YouTube, it's gotten to the point now to where they give you like features in the analytics tab where it's like
Mm,
research and inspiration, where you can see the most popular videos so you can see which topics to steal from other creators.
exactly.
Because
And
they want you to succeed and make them money.
Yeah, and I can't ever. I don't think less of anybody who like does that and successfully pulls that off. I
Yeah.
can't. I can't rationalize to myself taking time out of my day to pick up on the trends, punch the right buttons, and do that because, like you saw with the survive. Sorry, the next gen stream I did on Post
Yeah.
Human. That was a stream that got like 2,000 views, and that only happened because
Yeah.
I did that on the night it was releasing, and also I was probably the only hit Bring Me fan that wasn't saying like dumb shit and sucking Ollie's cock.
Oh my
Like in
God.
fairness,
Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, I don't even want to get started talking about
yeah,
that right
exactly.
now.
But like, but I'm just saying like, I also like unlike most people in the Halo Machinima scene, I'm also like working close to full time in the film industry, so
Yeah.
I'm able to like draw um my how to say my income from that, and also like broach my content with an old school kind of approach and stuff because you'd never go onto a film set and be like, okay, how do we make everything quick, snappy, and accessible for like the algorithms?
Well,
You just
well, I have to kind of disagree there
yeah,
because there's some productions nowadays that are, how do I say this? It's designed for like the TikTok generation. So
yes,
it's like some of them are written and directed with moments in mind are supposed to go viral on TikTok. I can think of Doctor Strange, #2, where they had the scene with the cameos.
yeah,
If you see, yeah, to me that doesn't serve the story, and it was directed to me extremely poorly because it just felt completely unnatural. But it's built for TikTok, and like Netflix movies are kind of like that, to where like leave the world behind. It just seems like something that's supposed to trend on Twitter. I know you guys probably haven't seen it. I don't really want to talk about it because I'll never stop talking about it. But it's
You
just
could.
it's a movie made for Twitter. I don't want to fucking talk about it. It's there's too much to explain.
but
But
you're right
it's like
though. Like a lot of cinemas,
yeah.
a lot of like the Marvel movies and stuff, they will have that scene. Did you see that scene where that thing happened, where that person
Yes,
showed up unexpectedly?
yes,
And
dude.
those are geared
Yeah.
towards like TikToks and short form media and stuff. But when I say
Mm.
like the typical film industry is a kid like that, you'll go on set and like all that kind of geared towards a TikTok thing will happen in pre-production where a script will be
Yeah,
written around it. But when we're on set and we're actually rolling it, we're treating it like a typical thing. Like we're not setting up a tripod with a phone and doing a TikTok dance. And
no, you're right.
and it's just it's I would love to slow people down and say, look, hang on, just think about this for a minute. Just think about how this thing would look because I've worked on smaller productions like indie productions where I'm working with not kids, but I'm working with adults who are maybe 5, 6 years younger than me, and they have learned filmmaking from not a YouTube tutorial but a TikTok tutorial where everything is like rapid fire. And I like TikTok like Photoshop or After Effects tutorial where all the information is like compartmentalized. I love all that stuff.
Me
But I
too.
don't like it. Yeah, I like micro learning is great because you don't have to listen to if you go on YouTube and you look for a tutorial in After Effects, you're going to listen to 50 minutes of hello and welcome to this. You're going
Yo.
to get your sequence and set this up. Whereas and if you go on TikTok for that, it'll just take out all the shit. It's one of the few good applications of short form media. But
That's fair.
like when you're trying to deal people who are like trying to truncate or like trim the fat of their storytelling until there's nothing left, it's really hard to like be next to that because it really is water and oil. Because
Yeah.
you oh I'll tell you really good this and we'll get back on topic after this, but you'll have people who will do like a scene with an actor and they'll have to cry on cue. And anyone who's done like emotional preparation or like Stanislavski or Meisner will know that you don't just go usually what it is you have to do your emotional preparation, find your start point on like what gets you there. And it could be a traumatic memory, a
Yeah.
potential event, and then you do what Clint Eastwood does. You don't go action. You'll just say whenever you're ready. And usually that person will just ride they'll ride the wave of that emotion until they get there. And you're not gonna go, what? Because you're not gonna snap them out of it. Once they ride the wave back out and compose themselves, you can like ease out of it. And they did that in Breaking Bad when Walt takes away Skylar's kids, takes away their kids. They had
Oh
like
yeah.
emotional support people on set to help her ease it because she had to access the again, like acting is to what is it? Acting is to perform truthfully under imaginary circumstances.
Hmm.
She had
Damn.
to legitimately grapple with the feeling of her newborn child being abducted
Mm.
uh, by a murderous husband. That's horrific stuff to deal with. So a lot of young people just go, okay, cry and stop crying, and it's like because it's good for the content. Like I know Darman tries to get there with this stuff, and it's tragic. Shout
Oh
out to
man.
Darman.
Love Darman. I mean, not
Sorry.
not that specifically, but I know what you mean. Um, yeah. I mean, that's one of the scenarios where having a professional education in filmmaking is needed, like stuff regarding like emotion and like sex scenes in particular.
Mm.
Like it's very good to have like some formal training, because if you don't, that's a disaster waiting to happen. There's no other way to put
Mm.
it.
Hmm.
But yeah, man. But you're right, man. I feel like a lot of movies are missing that now. Is because a lot of movies just feel kind of hollow. It's like the emotions don't feel real. It's like everybody's sort of sarcastic and quippy. I noticed that with Dungeons and
Watch other
Dragons.
films than mainstream Hollywood is the best advice I could give anyone who has that opinion.
Okay,
There's a lot of great independent films being made.
I don't
I
know
know
where to
people
fi-
point.
I don't know where to find them, because the closest theater to me
Mhm.
is like all they play is shit like Bad Boys, Ride or Die, and Medea
Oh
Family
god,
Funeral.
my friend made me watch like Bad Boys 3, and it was so fucking boring.
Is it worse than Bad Boys 2, or is it actually watchable?
I don't really like any of those movies, but but that third one was
Damn.
like especially bad from what I recalled.
I remember I tried to watch 2, and I got maybe like an hour into it, and then my mom was like, "Wait, you want to get to finish watching Bad Boys 2?" And I was like, I don't think my brain is there. I don't think I could sit through like an hour and 30 minutes of this shit without having a stroke, because
Yeah,
it was bullshit.
most of the stuff I watch nowadays, if I ever go to like the cinema or the theater or whatever, it's just like weird art house shit because it's more interesting for me. Like there's this film that came out last year, probably Derelict knows. It was made by Ari Aster. It's called Beau is Afraid. And it was
Oh
like
yeah.
kind
Oh
of
yeah.
mixed, but like super fascinating film in my opinion. Whether you liked it or not, it was like interesting, I think. And I'm like I've talked much more about that film with like my friends, like discussing what we liked and disliked about it, than I have about like any Marvel or Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
And like I would recommend people to like try out like things they wouldn't expect to like. Um
you're right.
because and I do like I know it sounds like a little like snobbish to say like ah go check out art house cinema, but like really that's probably where you're gonna get like some
Yeah.
original ideas, interesting ways of presentation. And I'm not saying like art house automatically makes it good. I just mean that like it's something different. It's not full of quips, and yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll say, for one, I have no idea where an art house cinema is, and there's
I
probably
more
one
mean
near
like
me.
a
But
genre of
oh, like a
cinema when I
genre?
say that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I saw a film a few years ago called Climax, and it's like this French movie,
What
and
the
like
fuck?
half of it is done in like
Oh
one take, and it was like really engaging, really original with its presentation, and
Wait,
no one would
Gaspar
fucking.
is that the one about the
Hmm?
lesbians?
Gaspar no, isn't it?
Yes, Gaspar Noé, and I
Mm.
really like his films in general. No, this was a 2018 film. It's without being too spoilery, it's basically it takes place in the 90s. It's about a French dance school, and they're like having a party on their like last day, and somebody spikes the punch with LSD, and the whole thing just like breaks down, and people just lose their minds,
Oh, okay. Just making
and
sure.
like half of the film is like one take, and it's like really 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 well done, interesting,
Oh,
engaging.
it's like 1917.
Yeah, except actually one take. It's not just like oh
Oh,
1917 looks like one take. In the film Climax it isn't all one take, but there's like I would say like the second half of that film is like almost like a 40-minute take, like one like done one way, and that's insane.
that's nuts, man. I don't.
Because mm,
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Here's my question: do movies like was it American Fiction?
Yeah.
Is that an art house film?
Hold on. Let me just
I
double
loved
check that
American Fiction.
I know what it is because I've heard the title. Okay. I mean, I guess it could be. To me, anything like art house at this point is like anything that's like experimental and it's not following like typical conventions
Oh,
that you would
okay.
expect.
So what about like Bottoms?
Maybe.
I mean, you've seen that, right?
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I was high on oxycodone when I watched that, and that was
Mhm.
that was a trip. That was a trip.
Yeah. I like I said, I recommend people when people tell me like the film industry is so bad, and I'm like, yeah, Hollywood does suck. Don't get me wrong, like they're just putting out shit. But if you actually look for good stuff, you
Yeah,
will find it. And
you're right.
it's hard to talk to people about that because it's like people they're tired of Star Wars, but they keep fucking watching it. They're
Yeah,
tired
no,
of the superhero
seriously,
films,
man.
but they still keep fucking watching them.
I'm
And it's
guilty
like,
of that. I'm guilty of that.
yeah, and I'm not. I
Superheroes.
get it. Like there are some like superhero films, or like I love Star Wars. Also, even some of the Disney stuff I like.
Yeah,
But
Andor.
and I just wish people would like broaden horizons of it because there's so many different types of films. If I have an art house film that I would recommend to you, actually, you were telling me you like stop motion, right?
Oh yeah.
Check out Anomalisa sometime.
Ooh, I've heard
Uh,
about that shit, dog. Heard about that shit when I was like,
it's
oh
very
my
adult.
god.
It's like for me, it's like a great example of like a cartoon that isn't made for children, and it's like it uses the plot is like there's this guy. He has like some mental illness. It's not really elaborated on, but basically everyone he talks to has the same face and voice. And then he meets a girl named Lisa, and she doesn't, and that's kind of like the crux of the whole story. And that kind of concept works really well in stop motion because all those people have the same face,
Yeah.
right? You can see that. And I don't know. I wish more people would open themselves up to stuff like that. That's a Charlie Kaufman film, and I
Yeah.
also recommend his films if you want to
Oh wait.
feel miserable and see something original.
Wait, is he the dude who did that one movie with Tom Cruise, Vanilla Sky?
No, he wrote Being John Malkovich, which was a film from like 20 some years ago,
No.
also interesting film. He made a film with Philip Seymour Hoffman called Synecdoche, New York, which is probably one of the most depressing films I've ever seen in my life.
I've
It,
heard about that.
it's really good though. It's one of my favorites, but I can't watch it. The first time I watched it, I like related to it too hard and I had
Nah,
to like
for
turn it
real.
off.
That's like
It
Jojo
was
Rabbit. You ever see that one movie,
yeah.
Jojo Rabbit?
But yeah,
Like what the
like
fuck?
I like watching films and feeling things.
Yeah.
It can be me
Yeah.
enjoying it or hating it, but I hate like I remember me and my ex, we went to see like Captain Marvel, and the reasons why we didn't like it have nothing to do with whatever woke shit that people bitch about
Yeah.
or like, oh, a woman superhero. I didn't care about that at all. Like that was not
Real.
a problem. My problem was just like this is fucking boring. It's like every other fucking superhero movie ever made. It's following the same plots, A to B to C, and we left like 30 minutes in.
Are you
Like
serious?
yeah, and
Oh
like
dang.
it wasn't like like I said, not political at all. It had nothing to do with the
Yeah.
politics. It was just like
Thank
I'm
God.
tired of this shit. Whereas I see Bo is afraid, and yeah, it flopped, but I'm still thinking about it and still talking about it, and that's something I
Yeah.
value.
Yeah,
I don't
for real.
remember anything from Captain Marvel aside from like Uncanny Valley young Samuel L. Jackson deep fake or whatever. Uh,
That wasn't great. That wasn't great.
which I don't know. It's like I said, if you look for good films, you will find them. Still, good films and good TV are still being made. You
That's
have to
true.
look for them.
That's true. That's true. Like the other day, I went to see Inside Out 2. Fucking loved that movie. Okay, but if I
Great.
had listened to Twitter or whatever, tell me that Disney is still sending money to Israel.
Mhm.
You should boycott the movie, and I'm like, yeah, sure, man. I like I hate Israel as much as the next guy, but
Yeah.
seriously, it's like you cannot participate in society without supporting bad things. Okay?
Yeah, and that's the fucked up thing in the end. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's the real tragedy of it.
Yeah.
So like I want people to enjoy what they like, and if people enjoy like movies that I don't like, that's fucking fine. I'm
Yeah.
glad someone enjoyed Captain Marvel. It wasn't me,
Yeah,
but someone did.
but like you shouldn't watch stuff that you hate. It's like you say, Like you said, there are
Yeah,
people that hate Star Wars, they hate The Last Jedi, but
and
they're
it's
still
like
watching The Acolyte.
you don't have to watch it anymore. Like you
You
can
really don't.
actively decide not to watch things.
No, for
That's
real.
what annoys me. Like I get it. It's like, oh, you're gonna get ads for it because like you're known to
What?
like Star Wars, but
Yeah, so
like
don't watch it. Just
I
ignore the
haven't
ad.
watched a single fucking episode of The Acolyte. I don't know if it's good or bad. I hate talking about Star Wars because it
Yes.
basically is like, oh, do you want to actually talk about like the writing and filmmaking, or are you gonna bitch because there's some fat Asian lady and a black guy in the
Yeah.
film? Or like, are we gonna have an actual discussion? And it's like, oh, they made it all woke by adding the black character, and it's like, Lando Calrissian was in Empire Strikes Back, right,
Well,
in
then, well, well,
1980.
well, that's different, okay? He wasn't political.
And it's like you do realize George Lucas based his script on like the Vietnam War specifically in
Yeah.
the sense that the Empire is
Is
the United
America.
States
Yeah.
and Vietnamese are the rebellion. And it's like it was political from the get-go. And like I don't know. If you want to I could do like a whole fucking like speech about like media literacy and the Star Wars fandom.
No, no, dog. That's real. It's like a lot of. That's why you're right about you got to search out like the art house stuff, the I guess more independent media, whether it's like
Yeah,
because you can't talk about a lot of popular stuff without getting into like pointless arguments about woke or whatever.
yeah, and like I get wanting to be like part of the cultural conversation, like watching like
Excuse me.
I like Star Wars. I might watch Andor. I've been watching some stuff with my partner
Andor
lately,
is
trying to
solid,
catch up on that.
and Andor is
Andor
solid. I
was
liked it.
I really like
It's
Andor
like
from
I
what I've
didn't
seen of it so far. But
personally, I didn't watch the like stuff like the Mandalorian and Boba Fett when it came out, but I saw some good shit
yeah,
about Andor. They said it was like an HBO show, and I watched it and I was like, shit, that's pretty good. I didn't even know it
yeah,
was
and
based on Rogue One.
it actually like makes the Star Wars universe seem like it's deeper than a puddle because it's not
Yeah,
about the same 10 people doing things. So
yeah, no,
it
for
was nice.
real. I loved it. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, it was still dragged through the mud by the what's it called, the usual suspects because the ratings were low and there's a lesbian couple shoved into your face in a franchise for kids and grown ass man children like me.
And
So
that's why I hate talking about like film, like Star Wars with people now, because now we have people who are like apologetic about the prequels because they grew up on them, and I did too, just to
yeah,
make it clear.
yeah,
But it's like when I talk about why those films are bad, I'm like, oh, the fucking script is awful. This
yeah.
editing choice is baffling. Like, why'd they do this? But then people are just like, I like it the lightsaber, and it's like, oh, okay, got it.
No,
That
for real.
that's what that means to you. Fair enough. I mean, I like it when the little green man jumps around with the lightsaber. Oh, but that's not really consistent with his characterization in this earlier film, and it seems a little like dumb writing. Oh, but it looks cool, and it's like, okay, you just want to see white guys doing cool shit. I get it. Straight white guys. Gotta make that clear.
Yeah, no, we can't have shit like the Marvels, which was if anybody actually gave that a chance, and if Marvel had the feeling that people would have actually given it a chance, they would have made it better, and people would have actually watched it, but they did not, which still pisses me off because I
Honestly, I'm
love the
kind of
Marvels.
happy seeing all that shit go up in flames.
What
like,
like the franchise films?
yeah, because like I love Indiana Jones, but like I I don't feel bad about Disney losing like $1 billion on that
Yeah.
film. I get people are like, oh, it's a shame that it wasn't successful, blah blah blah. And it's like Disney is awful, like evil.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna diss on you for like watching stuff they make because obviously I do. I love animation.
Yeah.
But like I'm also not like cheering for their success. Like for me, for a while, it was kind of depressing, like seeing like how big of a hit some films were. Like, um, I saw Black Panther, and on one hand, I really appreciate the the diversity of the cast, obviously, and like how it gave a platform to like a lot of black actors. That's great. That's awesome. And I think like most of the crew was black also, also, and that's
Yeah.
fantastic. But it's a fucking wet blanket of a movie for me. Like it's just like boring and like not super interesting for me. It wasn't like engaging.
It's a little
So
bit generic when you really
I
yeah,
like
think
it's
break down the
I
story.
yeah.
liked all the stuff in it that wasn't necessarily MCU stuff.
Yeah.
Like all the like the entire fight sequence between Killmonger and T'Challa when
Yeah.
they were in the suits. looked like something that was probably done
looked like
5 months before they even started
it
photography.
looked like cinematics from like Metal Gear Solid 4
Yeah.
on the PlayStation 3. Like
And
it,
I don't
Yeah.
want to say, well, it looks like a PS2 game, because everybody says that.
Yeah.
But
no,
when
it
you
looks
look
like
at
a PS3 game. It's a bit better than that. So if you
It,
wanna
it's
it
say-
just
looked
it's
like
not
to
done
me
rendering.
yeah, and I liked all the stuff like when T'Challa had to fight with, is it M'Baku and Killmonger when they didn't have suits on,
Oh
and you got
yeah.
to see all the beautiful like native garbs and stuff. That shit was
Yes.
lovely, and it was vibrant, and it felt like
Oh
it
yeah,
was
the
at least
production design was great. It's
yeah.
just that there was no substance in the story for me. Like nothing I could really attach
Oh yeah.
myself
Well,
to.
they were boxed in from the beginning because they had to make this like a sequel to Captain America: Civil War right off the rip.
Yeah.
So that means the beginning has to be a certain way, and Marvel probably told them they had to include certain things like the post credit scene with the Winter Soldier that I didn't even know was in there until I watched it like a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So that's all franchise films. You're boxed into doing certain stuff. It's like the new Jurassic World movie that's coming out. Apparently, they did all the CGI before they even shot a single thing with the actors.
Which is completely insane.
That's
Like,
that's so backwards. It's not even funny.
well, they do the same thing on Marvel films. They're like, okay, we have these action set pieces that we're already working on. You need to fit this into a script,
Shang-Chi.
basically.
Shang-Chi.
And it's like, it's so like, it's also one of the reasons why those sequel films for Star Wars were rushed. I don't hate those movies. Actually, that's not true. I do
What
hate
last
Episode
Jedi?
9.
I fucking
I like
hate.
Last Jedi. That's
Oh,
a fucking opinion
Last
that people
Jedi?
hate me for.
I've
I
never
hate
seen
Rise
it.
of Skywalker. I thought Rise of Skywalker was cowardly and
Yeah.
a failure of imagination.
I had such a good time watching The Rise of Skywalker because I had seen the response to Last Jedi, and it seemed like there wasn't a single person on Earth who had faith in the Rise of Skywalker being good. So I went in expecting a disaster, and because I'm not a Star Wars fan, I was able to leave it unscathed. So I went
That's
in with my
fine.
friend who was a Star Wars fan. So my friend is about the same age as me, so he would have grown up with the prequels, and there was a guy sitting next to us who would have grown up with the original theory, or trilogy, and he had a son with him who was maybe, I want to say 8 or 9, who would have grown up with the sequels. And that 8 or 9 year old would have been like me watching it because people didn't like the sequels. I only learned as a grown up, where when I was watching the prequels, when I watched the prequels, I was just thinking, pew pew lightsabers, Jar Jar Binks, cool, and
Real.
that's
Yeah.
kind of like what kids were thinking when they were watching the sequels, right?
Yeah.
Kylo Ren, pew pew, lightsaber, cool.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because obviously I had known by this stage how people saw the sequels and how people had thought of the prequels. Me and my friend were just watching it, and we saw the bit where they go, somehow Palpatine returned, and we went. The guy next to us, who was with his kid, his hands were ringing, and he was like scratching his wrists the whole time because he was having a nervous breakdown because he was watching his favorite franchise burn to the ground. It was
Yeah.
great.
It was like, what the fuck? I'm sure the kids were just like entertained the shit.
Yeah, I was entertained too, just for different reasons.
Yeah, because okay, let me just say this about the sequels. I haven't seen I've seen a little bit of The Force Awakens, but I had to stop watching it because Force Awakens is one of the most creatively bankrupt movies I've ever seen. It is literally Star Trek 2009 with a Star Wars coat of paint.
No, it's literally Episode 4, A New Hope.
Oh
is
well,
the
yeah.
problem.
Well, yeah. Star Trek 2009 stole from A New Hope too, but
The thing that annoys me is that George Lucas had like rough ideas, and gonna piss off people, but a lot of the ideas in Last Jedi that people hate and shit on, those were from George's original screen treatments for Episode 8. Really, like he wanted Luke to be a hermit. He wanted Luke to like be downtrodden
Yeah.
at that time, and people think it's all Ryan Johnson, and like no, he was just elaborating on George Lucas's ideas.
yeah, Ryan
Did George-
Johnson
And-
he did the right thing ultimately with his movie.
Yeah, I think that film is good. Like I rewatched it recently. I don't think it's the best Star Wars film, obviously, but I think people shit on the wrong things in that movie.
Well, like the
And
Mandalorian.
it's impossible for me to have a conversation with like anyone about it because it's like
Yeah.
they ruined Luke's characterization, and it's like you just wanted Luke to be the same
Yeah,
guy he was
like-
30 years ago.
Yeah, what did they want Ryan Johnson to do? Okay, because he was already on that island at the end of the Force Awakens. So was he just supposed to reverse everything and like Luke is actually some big baller pimp in a Bugatti with perspicacity? Is that what they wanted?
Come again? I didn't catch that. Sorry.
No, I mean, like, were they just supposed to change Luke's character? Because at the end of Force Awakens, it was implied that he was in a bad place. Why is he on an island when the galaxy's
Yeah.
under attack?
Well, people are mad because like they fucked up with planning that trilogy so much. Like
Oh,
Force
they
Awakens
didn't
is an
plan.
entertaining movie. It's not particularly great, but like it's entertaining and it did the job of getting people interested in Star Wars again, I think.
Yeah.
But this is what happened. George Lucas had a treatment for each of those three films made. Like, I don't think he wrote the treatment himself. I think he was having Michael Arndt, who wrote Toy Story
Yes.
3 and I think what was
Hunger
it, Little
Games.
Miss
He wrote
Sunshine.
Hunger Games.
He wrote quite a few films, and he's like a talented screenwriter. So like, oh cool, George is learning from his mistakes from the prequels. He won't write the scripts himself. He's gonna do
Naturally.
what he did in the 80s and 70s. He'll write the treatment, and then he'll have an actual writer write something cohesive.
Based.
Um, and they were going to do that, but Michael Art was spending a little. He wanted to take time on the script because it's Star Wars Episode 7. I can't
Excuse me.
blame someone to like want to take their time on that.
Yeah.
But Disney fast tracked it. They fired Michael Arndt. Well, they didn't fire him, but they took what he had. They brought Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote Empire Strikes Back, and they
Ugh.
brought J.J. Abrams on board. And instead of writing a continuation of Star Wars, they basically wrote a nostalgic homage to Star Wars, which is fine. In my opinion, that's all that Rogue One is. I know people love that movie, but for me, it's just like it's Star Wars porn. It's like what people want to see, I guess. And for
That's
me, it's like
true.
I don't
That's
want to
true.
see the same shit over and over again. I
Yeah.
want to see different things happen.
Was not a fan of Rogue One. Was not a fan of Rogue One, but you're right.
No.
It was to me it was it wasn't confusing. It was just a little bit boring to me because like she was like hiding or whatever or something. It was I don't know.
Yeah. For
It
me,
was
it was
weird.
just like Star Wars porn, and honestly, that's how season 2 of The Mandalorian
Yeah.
is. Oh my God, it's Luke Skywalker after returning to Jedi. Oh, it's Boba Fett. Oh, I remember those guys. Wow.
Remember guys.
Yeah,
Member
I
berries.
remember.
South Park was dead on with that shit. They're always dead on.
So,
The culture is.
I have a question. Uh, are we gonna watch Retold? Because
Oh,
I should probably wrap up in like an hour
I was
or less.
I was actually not. I'm not gonna lie. I was not planning on us actually watching it because my setup
Mhm.
is not equipped to like have the audio from the video
That's
sync up
fine.
with the audio from Discord very well. So
No worries.
that
Maybe
was not the
Derelict and I will
intention.
do a commentary on it sometime
No,
on our own.
seriously, you guys shouldn't. That was a good idea. I would have done it, but I actually just got a call a couple of minutes ago that I probably need to answer right now, and also I got to piss really bad. So I think it's
Okay,
probably
no
about
worries.
time we ended after 3 hours and 30 minutes, which is I want to do this for an hour.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I'm free today, so it wasn't a big deal. So don't worry.
Yeah, it was
Ah,
fun.
all right, man. So uh, I guess before we sign off on this retold retrospective, that's gonna be a bitch to edit because I'm gonna chop it up and upload it in different videos. What are you guys up to? Where can we find you?
You want to go first, Derelict? Because I think
Uh,
your livelihood depends more on it than mine.
you can probably find me behind the local gym going through the dirt or going through the rubbish, I guess. You can probably find me.
So that's removed.
It's Derelict Country everywhere, I guess. Working on some side projects. Prom Night Disaster will be here by the end of the year. Guide
Chews.
to Machinima after that, and then we're starting the phase 6 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. No, we're just starting. We're switching gears. That's all. We're just switching gears a little bit.
I almost clapped. All right. What about you, Blizz? What you up to?
So I'll put this in the chat later because I see you have Derelict tagged on the title, and I do have a YouTube as well. I'm just not a active content creator.
Gotcha.
But what am I up to? Well, you can find me on Twitter. I'm Blizzilla, Blizzilla. I actually just followed you on your Voyager's account, your Voyager account,
Yeah.
like a few minutes ago. So feel free to follow back. I'm not doing a lot of like video producing work at the moment, but I am available for voice acting if anybody would like to have me. I still do a lot
Yeah.
of voice work for Derelict, and I do also do like actual like professional voice acting. I've done voiceovers for television in Poland and also
Damn.
advertising. So not just playing the over the top gay character on oneself. Other than that, yeah, I'm a teacher. If anybody wants English lessons, maybe hit me up on Twitter,
There
I
you go.
guess. But yeah, I'm mostly just chilling, teaching, and I'm a regular on VR chat, so you can find me on there too if anyone's curious.
There you go. I'll make sure to update the title and description with your shit.
Yeah, no
And,
worries,
you know,
no
just
worries.
rush it.
I'm not trying to like grill you or anything. I was just saying.
Also, Blizz, I have a question. I have a question real quick.
Yeah, please go ahead.
It's something I've always wondered, and if I go to Google, I'm gonna get like an AI spam site. Now,
Mhm.
you're an American national, living abroad. Can you
Yeah.
vote?
Can I vote, or should I be able to vote?
No, I'm just asking. Can you vote? Because I don't know.
Yes, I can.
But only in like federal shit, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, I'll probably be voting in the upcoming election,
Oh
and
God.
we'll
Okay.
see.
We'll we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me today, even in the midst of
Mhm.
my ongoing litigation.
You're good, dude.
It's been it's it's been I actually really don't care. That's being taken care of. Anyway,
Fair enough.
yeah, Ivan Jarvis Godden of Voyage Arts YT. With Blizz and Derelict, the co-conspirators behind Retold 1, and hopefully we will do a stream for Retold 2 if I can reach out to Beam. So I may have to get Derelict to send
Yeah,
me
if you have
the
trouble,
details.
tell me or Derelict. Either one of us will probably be able to get a hold of him.
Yeah,
Probably I'll be
yeah,
more willing to, but
yeah.
don't.
I don't have him added as a friend. I think that's the issue because he was on the Retold server, then he left and whatever, so I can't message him. But yeah,
Yeah, it's all good.
that's been us. Thank you all
Mhm.
for watching, and there is another stream coming soon about the announcement today that I forgot I uploaded, and also all the SML shit that you probably heard me informing Blizz about. So, peace,
Yeah.
guys. All right, we out.
But yeah,